A new era of Cardinals baseball begins this afternoon. Today, we open up the new Busch Stadium. One of baseball's most historic franchises, the St. Louis Cardinals, opens its doors this afternoon to their new home. From Sportsman's Park to the old Busch Stadium to now the new Busch Stadium, there have been great players, teams, and of course memories. Time for a new set of memories, next on FSN. Welcome to downtown St. Louis, and welcome to opening day, the home portion for the St. Louis Cardinals. A special opening day as the Cardinals open their doors to their brand new stadium here in downtown St. Louis. The skyline is beautiful from the third base side. Those seats, that's where we're situated. The Brewers will open it up with the Cardinals this afternoon here on Fox Sports Net. With my partner, as always, all season long, Al Ravosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. This should be a lot of fun. And welcome to our broadcast suite here at Busch Stadium. Joe Buck will have the call of Cardinals baseball with Al. We're going to hear from Joel Goldberg and, of course, Jim Hayes as well. You have been a part of a number of opening days as a player, now as a broadcaster. This one, I'm guessing, a little extra special because of the new ballpark.
Well, it really is. I can't think of any time I ever opened a new ballpark, whether it was one in St. Louis or on the road. You know, I played in a lot of new stadiums, but never to be there for opening day of one, and this is very special. It's always a great time in St. Louis, and once again, my favorite is they brought back the Clydesdales. You know, the motorcade is something, but to bring those Clydesdales out here, I think the crowd really loves that.
Yeah, we thought they were going to do that. That will be a special touch this afternoon. Now, you were down on the field. I was as well. We were talking with coaches and players. Everybody on both sides is very excited about this new ballpark.
I think they are, and one of the things that they're really excited about is the playing surface. You know, it was only put in a couple weeks ago, but it seems like it is really sodded well. There's a firm foundation. The players love the facility, the grass. Only thing players are concerned about is the clubhouse and the field, and they've got they got overwhelmingly they're pleased with both.
And we saw that the other night. You and I did the minor league game. The facilities for the players, we'll talk about for the fans in just a moment, but for the players, it is absolutely amazing when you talk about what the players have adjacent to the locker room, which is state-of-the-art, the medical facilities, the chance that they can go throw and take BP, the weight room. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, it is, and it's very practical too, from a standpoint of trying to rehabilitate a guy to doing the weight facility. So even during a game, a pinch hitter or somebody could go down and stretch out. You know, with the cold weather we had in Chicago, you didn't have that access to where you could go into a batting cage. You could go into an area and stretch out and really try to have one of the trainers or Pete Prinzi, the strength and conditioning guy, really jump on top of you and stretch you out. Do all these different things. All these facilities are just so open for the player.
Oh, Al, we are so thankful. The sun is shining. It is above 50 degrees. It's going to be a great day for baseball.
70 degrees. It's awesome.
Let's go around the horn. This is our coverage from around Busch Stadium. On the field, Joel Goldberg. Outside of Busch Stadium, Jim Hayes. We start with Joel, who's down on the field.
Yeah, Dan, I will echo these sentiments. Nice not to have to wear a winter coat out here. It is a beautiful day down on the field here at New Busch Stadium. All kinds of former players and dignitaries from around baseball are here. We will talk to many of them over the next couple of hours. And, of course, batting practice going on right now as we speak. Scott Rowland, John Rodriguez, Skip Schumacher taking BP. That's the story from down here on the field. Let's go up into the stands and Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Actually, behind the bleachers in left field. Forget the players. We're going to be with the fans. You know, not everyone has had a chance to see the new Busch Stadium. We'll look at some of the sites, and we're going to hear from the fans. They have a lot to say. Most people very excited. And we're, Dan, going to give them the chance to share their feelings with us.
Sounds good. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Jimmy. Now, let's talk for the fans. As we mentioned, for the players, it's state-of-the-art. Now, the fans, the other night, some came away just blown away. Others said, well, I had too long of a line at a concession stand. One of the things that we were led to believe is that there would be shorter lines. We anticipate that as the season gets going, because the fact was a lot of people are walking around to see the ballpark, not necessarily watching the game. So lines were a little bit longer, but rest assured, we hope that's going to be taken care of.
And I think from a concession standpoint, too, as everyone gets acclimated to their new digs and they figure out things and things will start flowing in a more expedient fashion, I think everyone's going to be, very, very happy with this. if there is inclement weather, there's enough clubs and different places that you can get in, get out of the way. I think one of the neat things for fans are going to be, you know, used to be maybe a standing room ticket wasn't desirable. I think that is going to be a big thing as people want to walk around, experience all the flavor of this ballpark, and still have a venue where they can see the game and see down on the field.
2 hours plus, that's what we're going to bring you this afternoon. Our pregame show leading up to our first pitch here on FSN. How about for the players? What does opening day mean? Let's hear about it.
It'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see, you know, how the baseball stadium plays. It's going to be a pitcher's park. It's going to be a hitter's park. It'll be interesting to see, but it's going to be a lot of fun to open up a new stadium.
I think our fans, more importantly, are really going to enjoy it. It's a very fan-friendly ballpark. I think they're really going to like it. But the way I look at it, two things. Number one, it's the same fans. So our home field advantage has been the support our fans give us and the adrenaline it pumps in our ball club. The second thing is it's baseball. You know, it's two teams against each other on a regulation field, and going to the park's going to be nice, but our fans are not going to have fun unless we have a chance to win.
And welcome back to Busch Stadium. Beautiful day in downtown St. Louis. Perfect day for an opener, joined right now by Skip Schumacher. And I've got to think, first off, after being so cold in Chicago, you guys are happy just to get back to the warm.
Absolutely. Philly and Chicago are both freezing cold, and 70-degree weather out here is pretty nice.
All right, so what are your thoughts now? I know you guys got a chance to work out in this, but now to be here in uniform, for real, the crowd's starting to file in. What's going through your head?
You know, I was lucky enough to be at the final game of Busch Stadium last year, and to open up this year is amazing for me, and to see all the fans on our side, you know, because we opened up on the road, it's pretty nice to have.
Yeah, Al Rabowski was saying before, you know, players, most importantly, they care about the field, they care about the clubhouse. Pretty good for both, huh?
They didn't cut any corners, that's for sure. The clubhouse is enormous. It's got everything from jacuzzis and pools in the training room to the field, which is state-of-the-art. So they didn't, like I said, they didn't cut any corners for sure.
What about just kind of getting used to the game here, too? I mean, you haven't been around the majors all that long, but there's certainly a book on a lot of fields. Here's how you play this stadium, here's how you play that stadium. How long do you think it'll take just to get used to this place?
It's going to take a couple games, that's for sure. You know, it's not really a home field advantage as far as the surface is concerned, because nobody knows how what the ball's going to do in the outfield, the infield, what kind of hops it's going to take. So it's going to be an adjustment period for a lot of us, but I think we'll be all right.
Skip, thanks for the visit.
All right, thank you.
All right, that is Skip Schumacher, outfielder for the Cardinals. Let's go out to the stands and Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Joel, I'm standing with my new friend Ted. He's from Nashville, used to be from Belleville, moved to Nashville for what, the country music?
Yes, sir.
He doesn't really like it. Hey, Joel, they're giving these certificates of attendance, and I don't know if you can see this thing. I'm trying to move so the mic will sound better. Ted, what's your favorite part, aside from the free certificate that you got to show that you were here for the first real game at Busch? What do you like best about the stadium?
Stadium is there's a lot of room for the family to move around, and it's just beautiful. Really nice.
It is beautiful. All right, Dan, we're going to send it over to you and fix the microphone.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Interesting comments here by Skip Schumacher. I was going to ask you about this. From a player's perspective, how long do you think it takes, even at a major league level, to get used to the playing conditions, maybe for the hitters, the background, for the fielders trying to figure out how much foul territory there is? Is it tough to get used to?
Well, I think it's going to take a little longer than a couple days, because you're going to have to experience it in warm weather as well as cold weather. You're going to have to experience to see how the wind blows. Sometimes the rain will come from a certain area, come from, you know, from the north and come this way. And you just have to kind of play here for a while. But the one thing is good, is the dirt is excellent. The ground and the sod is cemented. I mean, it's down there firmly. The one thing when we did the exhibition game, we didn't see any fielders kick up any sod. So it seems like it's taken root system very well. So I think it's going to play fine, especially when you have this kind of warm weather.
Well, we're going to go back to Joel. He's standing by with Scott Spezio. Now, Ed Spezio opened up the old Busch Stadium back in 1966. His son is doing it in 2006. Joel, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Lots of tradition with Busch Stadium and the Spezio family. What does it mean for you to sort of follow in your father's footsteps of opening a new Busch Stadium?
Oh, it's incredible. You know, I got my dad's number. It's too bad he can't be here today, but you know, I came down here when they had some old-timers games, and the incredible feeling I had in Busch Stadium with the fans was unbelievable, and I see it's already starting here. I couldn't even get into the park today. It was jam-packed outside.
What are your impressions early on of the stadium and the field?
Unbelievable. You know, it's what everybody expected. First-class organization that has an incredible field. It's you know, and I'd say in the top 1 or 2 of all fields in baseball.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, you've been around a lot of fields before, and certainly came from a great organization. Have that that World Series ring from Anaheim. What makes this place maybe different, or does it stack up to one of the better stadiums, a couple that you've seen out there?
Oh yeah, I've always been a big fan of course, Anaheim Stadium and Camden Yards, and you know, this has got different features than both of them, but the playing surface looks fantastic. The seating looks incredible, and I mean, the background of the arch and the Capitol building and all that is just it's unbelievable. And you know, now when we get all the fans here in red and maybe a couple with a red goatee here, we'll be ready to go.
I was going to mention that as we wrap up. This is not brand new. I know you did it down in spring training, but it's a good way to win over. Everybody wears red. A good way to win over the fans with the red goatee, and who knows, in a matter of time, we may have a lot of lookalikes.
Well, I hope so. You know, I do it more for me than anything else. Really, it kind of gets me in a mode to play and to really go after the other team. It's kind of like a, you know, paint the town red thing, but it just gets me all fired up. And you know, I didn't do it with Seattle. You can only do it with red, so it feels great.
Thanks for stopping by.
Got it, no problem.
All right, that is Scott Spezio on the red goatee. Dan, I know it wouldn't work for you, but I'm thinking Al, red, maybe.
All right, Joel, thank you very much. Some of the festivities outside, fans started getting here at 10 a.m. More pregame festivities on FS on a very special opening day as we open up the brand new Busch Stadium. The general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals is Walt Jocketty. He's downstairs with Joel. Joel?
Thanks, Dan. Walt, an exciting day for anybody that's affiliated with the Cardinals, players, management, fans. For you, this has to be pretty exciting just to see this all come to fruition.
It really is. I mean, it far exceeded our expectations, and it's a great ballpark for the players. It's great for the fans, and you know, I think you know, our fans should enjoy this as the year goes on. Hopefully, we can bring a number of championships into this ballpark like we did the old Busch.
I wonder, too, when it comes to, I'm looking ahead, but when it comes time to free agency, and you've always been able to sell players on coming here to play in front of what a lot of people feel are the best fans in baseball, the crowd, the atmosphere, does this make it even more attractive?
Well, it has to, because, you know, when you get underneath, you see the clubhouse, you see the weight room we have, the training room, and the video room we have. They're state-of-the-art. There isn't another ballpark in the country that has the same facilities we have, or as good as better facilities than what we have. So that helps, and it's, you know, it's a great ballpark. It looks like it's going to play true out on the field, and you know, I just think that it can't help but you know, encourage guys to want to play here.
Otherwise, they can go to Chicago and be cold.
Go to Chicago and be cold, and that cramped clubhouse and cramped dugouts. But it was pretty nice here.
Thanks, Walt.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, that is Walt Jocketty. Dan, let's go back upstairs to you.
All right, the man in the red jacket to my right, the new radio voice of the St. Louis Cardinals, that is John Rooney. Welcome to St. Louis. You're no stranger to the town, but welcome back.
Nice to be with you, Dan, and it's great to be here for opening day in St. Louis. It's been a long time. Goes back about 20-some years since I've had this kind of opportunity to not only enjoy opening day baseball, but now a brand new ballpark. You can't beat it.
We've got the lights on us. That's blinding enough. And then I look over at you and I see this ring. That's blinding me as well. Hopefully Mike can get a close-up of this ring, the World Championship ring of the White Sox. Of course, we'd love to see that here in St. Louis. That must have been a thrill for you a year ago.
It was, Dan, and for all those people who waited for generations, and those who happen to hear stories from their grandmothers and grandfathers about 1917 or 1959 just making the World Series, that meant a lot to those people, and it meant a lot working 18 years with the White Sox. But I'd really like to have one of these, maybe square with the birds on the bat and a little red in there, and that's what I'm really looking forward to.
How good can this team be? You think they can get to that point?
I think they have a shot, and anytime you have a starting five, the way Tony has his pitching lined up from the starting standpoint, you have a chance to win every day. Getting the bullpen lined up, I thought the Cub bullpen was that much better the first couple of games of that series, and then definitely put them over the top last night. The walks really hurt, but to be back home before a crowd with all that red and all that noise, I think it's going to make a little bit of a difference today.
John Rooney, the radio voice of the St. Louis Cardinals, is going to stay with us through this break. You're watching our pregame show here on FSN. Crowd started getting here around 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning. Always festive here in downtown St. Louis for opening day. A special occasion right here on FSN. Back with more in just a moment.
Get out of here. Deep right field. Sanchez
DeAngelo
It's
goes
gone!
back.
Yeah!
This ball is gone!
Now, Ozzie Smith was part of that call, and of course on opening day, when you think about it here in St. Louis, you always think about the backflip of Ozzie Smith. That won't happen. The Clydesdales, though, will return this afternoon as John Rooney is alongside. I'm Dan McLaughlin. This is our pregame show here on FSN. Joe Buck and Al Roboski will have the call. Also a staple now for 30-plus seasons on opening day, your buddy, your partner, Mike Shannon. What's it been like so far to work with Mike?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun, and we started out right from the very first game, and there are going to be some jabs, Dan. They're going to be going both ways.
What a shock.
He asked me to ride the Clydesdale from his restaurant over here opening day. I just told him, hey, thanks for giving me all the great assignments.
Yeah,
now, we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, John Rooney is with us, and of course you'll be with Mike Shannon on the Cardinals radio network. Give us your thoughts on the new ballpark. What have you thought so far?
Well, having a chance just to walk around the concourses, and with what has happened, the added area there, I think the fans are going to enjoy that where they're not so cramped in the upper areas of the ballpark. And the one thing that I noticed before going to spring training, and they didn't have the grass down on the park yet, but standing in the upper reaches of right field, looking down where they had the mound in the home plate area, I thought, you know, they're close. I mean, you get the feeling like you're right on top of the action that you don't get in many of the new ballparks.
You have traveled around Major League Baseball for a number of years. You've done World Series. What's it like coming to St. Louis to work for these fans? And we always consider them the best in baseball.
I always like coming back to St. Louis just to do a game for the game of the week, whether it's for Fox or whether it was CBS Radio, just simply because you know the place is going to be packed or very close to it, and it's always going to be a good ball game because everybody shoots for the Cardinals. And we saw that at Wrigley Field over the weekend. But to be back here for opening day, all the red in the ballpark, there's nothing that beats opening day in St. Louis in baseball.
John, great to see you. Best of luck this year.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
For seasons to come as well. That's John Rooney, the radio voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. Much more to come here on FSN. The festivities continue just outside the ballpark. 1:39 and counting. Look at Busch Stadium through our camera that's situated down that left field line. Come on, buddy, wake up. It's opening day here in St. Louis, and I'm sure he'll be plenty awake in about 90 minutes as we get you set for the first pitch ever here at Busch Stadium, the new Busch Stadium. It'll be Joe Buck and Al Roboski. Those two will have the call here on FSN. Well, the man that spearheaded the effort to get this ballpark built is Bill DeWitt. He's downstairs with Jim Hayes.
Bill, this was the day that you guys were looking forward to when you started this whole construction. You had a game here. It was just an exhibition game between some minor league affiliates here. But what are your thoughts on the new stadium? Is it everything you had hoped it would be?
I'd say everything we hoped it would be and better. We've gotten rave reviews, and rightfully so. I think it's been a great project. It looks beautiful. I think the fans are going to love it, and we're very excited.
Well, there's already a huge buzz around St. Louis about the new stadium. Is the reaction from fans more than you expected?
It's been remarkable. I think it's been a real event the last week, and those who have been in it, people come up to me on the street and just, I mean, they're awestruck. So, I mean, that's very rewarding and makes us feel great.
Not just a ball game today, but this also marks the beginning of the resurgence of downtown. You proud to play a part in that?
We really are. The Cardinals are a big part of downtown. There's been a lot of redevelopment going on downtown. We're excited about Ballpark Village, so we want to be part of a vibrant community, and under the mayor's direction, it's really moving forward.
What is the next step for Ballpark Village?
Well, we've got some pretty detailed plans at the moment, so we're sorting through the financing and just working on that, but we hope to begin construction this summer.
What's your favorite part of the new ballpark?
I think the two favorites. One is as you approach it and you see the outside, because I think it's a ballpark. It looks like a ballpark, and you know it's the Cardinals ballpark. But then when you come in and you look out at the expansive view and overlooking the city, how it integrates with the city of St. Louis. After all, we are part of the community, and I think people want to have that connection rather than be in an enclosed structure.
Everyone's excited about the home opener, including the owner.
All right, Jim, thank you, and congratulations to Bill DeWitt and the ownership group here in St. Louis as it's finally come to fruition, opening day for their brand new home. Well, let's take a look at our Just for Men play, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of these ballparks. Now, Mike Shannon at the old Busch Stadium, the first man to homer at the then new Busch Stadium back in 1966. Chris Duncan, he had the last regular season home run at the ballpark as Tony La Russa and his dad, Dave Duncan, looking on and proud. And now we open up a new ballpark here in downtown St. Louis. It's brought to you by Just for Men, the Target Spotlight. Plenty more to come in our countdown to first pitch here on FSN. Glad you're with us. 1:33 and counting. You're on your home of the Cardinals. Cardinals on deck rolls on from the new Busch Stadium, the home opener. And history will be made this afternoon right here on FSN as Joe Buck and Al Raboski will have the call. And, of course, we've got complete post-game reaction as well following on the Midwest Sports Report. One of the good stories so far has been Milwaukee, today's opponent. Ned Yost finds his club at 5-1. Right now he's downstairs with our Mike Shannon. Mike?
Chance to talk it over with the Milwaukee manager, Ned Yost. First of all, a new ballpark for you to come into.
It's nice. Yeah, I got here early this morning, Shanny, and looked around, and it's about as beautiful as you expect. The arch in center field is tremendous. The playing field, if you didn't look at the stands, you would think you were back at Old Busch Stadium. The dugouts are kind of, the same, but the new background is absolutely beautiful.
Tell us a little bit about your baseball team.
Well, we've got a little bit better baseball team than we've had in years past. We've got a lot of young kids mixed in with some good veterans. I think, the first week we got off to a nice start. We're 5-1. Primarily, we've been playing very, very well in the pitching department and in the defensive department. We've had some good timely hitting. Our offense isn't exactly on track yet. We're not really killing the ball, but we're scoring enough runs to win ball games, and the pitching and defense takes it from there.
And you have a young first baseman over there that's, he started slow, but he's started to kick in now.
He has. He's been a kid that's really taken off, throughout the minor league system. He's only 21 years old now, but had a great day the other day, 3 for 3 with a home run and really starting to swing the bat good.
It all gets down to pitching, though, sooner or later.
It gets down to pitching and defense, Shanny. You're right. And, our pitching was pretty solid last year. We had some defensive issues. We worked on it real hard all winter and this spring, and it's definitely paying big dividends for us so far in this season.
How has Oka been throwing?
Oka had a great start, his last start, his first start of the year, threw 7 innings against Pittsburgh and really threw the ball very, very well. So we're excited to see him today.
And who will we see on the next 2 days?
After Tomooka, you'll see Dave Busch, a guy that we got in the Lyle Overbay trade, and then Doug Davis. So we got 3 good starters for you.
And those trades were very beneficial to you guys especially.
Well, big time. Dave Busch came out, threw 7 innings his first start, got the win, threw a very, very good game, pitched great all spring. Gabe Gross, a guy that we got in that trade, is 2 for 4 off the bench with 4 RBIs and a big pinch hit home run and a big game-tying 2-run single the other day. And we got a guy named Zach Jackson in AAA that was Toronto's #1 pick in 204 who's going to be up here real soon, too.
But you're talking about right now. You want to win right now.
Well, we do. I mean, I think everybody wants to win right now, but we're still looking at the big picture. We got so many young kids. I mean, if you go around our infield, Prince Fielder's 21, Ricky Weeks is 23, JJ's 23, Billy Hall's 25 years old, but, you still know that there's some development needed there for them to, to get to that next level, but you want to develop and win at the same time, and they're a good core of kids to have around.
Thank you, sir.
You got it, Shanny.
Back to you guys.
All right, Mike, thank you, and hopefully Mike Shannon will be able to join us just a little bit later here on our set. Now, we always talk about for players and coaches what it means to come back home and maybe open up a new stadium, be able to play for their hometown team. What about for an umpire? We saw Ron Kolpa in the series between St. Louis and Chicago. He's going to be behind the plate, and he's a St. Louisan. He's standing by with Joel.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, a big day for Ron Kolp. I know in one sense it's just another series. You've got a job to do, but what about the emotions of coming home to this new ballpark?
Well, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for me, growing up in St. Louis, and my family and my friends are all here today. And, I worked the last game at the last Busch last year, and for me to open this new stadium is a big thrill for me.
And I've got to think, too, just the rest of the crew recognizing that. I just talked to Bruce Fremming, and he said, well, we're going to let Ron, behind the plate today because it's a homecoming.
Yeah, I joined this crew today. My other crew went on to New York, and what Bruce knows, I'm from St. Louis, and he gave me the honor of working the first plate job here, so I'm thrilled.
We ask players all the time, what are their impressions of a new ballpark, and what do you think? Hey, you see all these ballparks as much as they do, so what are your impressions of this place?
It looks great. I just did a walkthrough around the field. I walked around with my family before, and, it's a little bit of Pittsburgh, a little bit of Philadelphia. It's got a little bit of a lot of the new parks in the stadium.
Have a good game today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that is Ron Kulpa going to be behind home plate today calling the game. Dan, let's go back to you.
All right, Joel, good job, and thank you, and congratulations to Ron Kulpa. That's a look by the Musial statue. Meet me at the Stan the Man statue. Carries on to the new stadium. 126 and count. Back to opening day, the home opener for the St. Louis Cardinals at the new Busch Stadium. Jim Hayes has been a busy man along with Joel Goldberg. And Jim is, I believe, out in the bleachers in left field. Jimmy?
That's where I am, Dan. And one of the nice things about this stadium is it separates the haves, the people that have tickets, from the have-nots. The folks that don't have tickets get a bird's eye view of the folks that do. Joni's one of the fans that did not get a ticket. And, Joni, why didn't you go out and get yourself a ticket for this?
I tried, Jim. I tried for six months or so. I tried on the internet. I tried on the phone. I tried friends. I tried you earlier.
No, you didn't. Now, what joy could you possibly get out of sitting here and stewing over the fact that you're not one of the folks on the inside? And by the way, can you get I got a lock here just to make sure Joni doesn't get in, but what joy could you get out of just looking at the folks having a good time?
Well, I'm feeling about the third or fourth inning, Albert Pujols will hit a home run out here to me.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I feel in the third or fourth inning.
Can he reach it?
Of course he can.
Of course he can. All right. Now, Joni, we have to toss now, and I told you what to say, so you do it.
Back to Joel.
Oh, excellent work. Much better than Jim Hayes. Joined right now by the Hall of Famer Red Schoendienst. You've been here for these opening days since 1945, looking sharp in the red coat. How much fun are these days for you?
Well, it's always fun, especially it's going to be a lot of fun this year because of the new ballpark.
And you've seen now this is your third Busch Stadium. What are your impressions when you look out at this one?
Well, I don't know how they can do any better than what they did, over the winter, and just to be on the playing field. I can't believe they got that field in such great shape. It's outstanding. And, of course, the stands are going to be great for the fans to see a game here with all the, it's going to take a little while. I'm sure there's a few things that has to be done, but right now it's beautiful. The only thing we can improve on it is we got to just win. That's it.
It's all about the winning. Forget about the couple losses, the few losses to the Cubs, and get back to winning against the Brewers. What about, we've been asking some of the players how you adjust to a new stadium, having been around and seen the old stadiums and played in new stadiums and managed and all that. How long of an adjustment period is it?
Well, the old stadiums years ago, it was a little different in the stadiums today because of the little angles they had. You don't have too many angles in this field at all in all your new stadiums. And usually, we were here last Sunday, and they had a workout before they went back to Philadelphia to open the season there. So they got used to the stadium just to see what the ball will do off the walls and this and that. So that's a big thing. And it's not like your old ballparks where it comes off the wall, off for a screen or something a little different. So it's pretty much all your new ones are just about the same as far as their playing field.
Red, always great to see you. Enjoy today.
Thank you. I will.
All right, that's the Hall of Famer, Red Schoendienst, looking very sharp in the red coat.
Of course, his number is out there on the brick wall beyond the center field wall, the playing field, is number 2. Well, what's it like to walk around at the new Busch Stadium? Here's a look as we head to break, the wider concourses as we open it up in 1 hour and 19 minutes with our first pitch on your home of the Cardinals, FSN. Just over an hour away from our first pitch as we open up the new stadium. You are watching Cardinals on Deck on FSN. It's presented to you along with our game this afternoon in crystal clear, high definition. Well, we've had a chance to visit with some of the all-time greats here in St. Louis. Also, our thanks to Mike Shannon and Bill DeWitt and the fans out there with Jim Hayes. We have another Hall of Famer that's standing by. Yep. The base burglar is here. That's Lou Brock. He's standing by with Joel.
As he is always opening day and, well, throughout the course of the year, Lou Brock, we were just saying how good Red Schoendienst look at his red coat. You look great as well, and the Cardinal tie.
Well, of course, this is part of the uniform. On opening day, new ballpark, everything is new except the jacket, so that's one of those things that you get as a Cardinal.
I wanted to ask you because so many people have impressions of the stadium, and you were just telling me off camera, this is, and you wanted it this way, your first look at it.
Yeah, I did. I honestly did want to see it until I really was here on the first time so that I could enjoy and savor all of the excitement along with the fans without saying, yeah, I saw it and this is what I like and this is what I don't like. But That's nothing I saw I don't like. So it must be one of those stadiums that's in your fantasy that come alive.
And any comparisons to other parks?
Yeah, I think it's a lot, in my opinion, to Cleveland, but only because of the scoreboard. Other than that, I haven't seen much of it.
And finally, the one thing that never changes here, maybe the stadium's changed a couple times, is the motorcade and the fun of getting out there. And I know everybody loves to see you and Red and Gibby, as well as the current players. How much fun is that for you to make that circle around?
I think it's tradition here in St. Louis, not only on opening day, but now in new ballparks. I think they expect to see the Clydesdale. They expect to see us. Somehow we sort of fit in, and we just make that ride. So if one of those type things, you're saying hello again to the crowd.
Lou, always good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, that is the great Lou Brock. Dan, upstairs to you.
Thank you, Joel. His number 20 out there on that brick wall in center. Beyond the left field wall, it'll be Ballpark Village. That construction begins after the season. 114 and counting on FSM. Sold-out crowd is ready to go for baseball, the home opener for the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's check back in with our buddy Jim Hayes.
All right, Dan, I'm with my buddy Dick Buckman, who has one of these certificates that every fan who is in attendance will get one to show that they were here for the home opener of Busch Stadium. Now, Dick also got one for the original Busch Stadium, another certificate of attendance. So, Dick, I got to ask you, which day seems more exciting, the opening of the old Busch or this one?
Well, to a young kid, 40 years ago was pretty exciting. But I have to tell you, this is just incredible. This stadium is so beautiful. The fans are excited. The team is hot. We're going to win. Forget about Chicago. We're going to win today. This is a great time. I would vote for 2006.
Here, here, Dan. This is Dick Buckman. He's a big kid.
We all are big kids today. It's like Christmas for most of us as we open up a new ballpark. Ironically enough, we have a chance to visit with Mike Shannon, who hit the first home run back in 1966 at the old Busch Stadium. Now we have the new Busch Stadium. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not going to hit the home run in this one, that's for sure.
Don't go out on a limb now, okay?
Now, if I stand on second base, I might be all right. And if you throw it underhanded, we have a chance. But this place is magnificent, I think. You really have to take your hat off to Bill DeWitt and Mark Lamping for all they've gone through to put this thing up, because, you know, they didn't have very many friends when they started this thing. Let's face it. And it all has come true, and we see it start today, and I think that the fans, that's what it's all about. It's for the fans, plain and simple. They love the old ballpark. They're going to like this one a lot better. This thing is so fan-friendly. They're going to love it.
Now, Mike Shannon, of course, you've been a part of these for so long. You used to come down to the old ballpark as a youngster here in St. Louis. Then all of a sudden, you're playing for the organization. You've gone through the opening days as a player. Now it's 30-plus years as a broadcaster. Do you still get excited for these things? You still get the, I don't know, butterflies is the right word, but a little extra juiced up for opening day?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. This will get you juiced up. I mean, everybody around here, you know, they're the ones that get you juiced up. The ball players, the game gets you juiced up. You know yourself. We come out here every day and it's routine. But once that first pitch is thrown, we don't know what's going to happen. And then you start up, and I get excited about it all the time. I appreciate what these guys do so much, because I was out there. I know how hard it is and how much fun it is when you win.
The Cardinals, of course, won the first 3 games of the regular season. A little bit tough go in Chicago as they dropped 3 straight, but coming into this game, 500, first week of the season, how do you like this club?
Well, I like this club a lot. We've got to get our bullpen straightened out down there. Looper's got to be the guy. You know, if he's healthy and he's doing the job that he's supposed to do and capable of doing, we win the last 2 games in Chicago. We didn't have him, so we lost him. And the one thing about Chicago, they can talk about their leadoff man and they can talk about the speed, this and that. But the improvement in the Chicago team is in that bullpen, right. And it really showed up. I mean, it used to be when you got them to the 7th and 8th inning, you had them because you know you were going to rack that bullpen. That's not the case anymore. They're good. This ball club here is good, too.
And the one thing that stands out to me, Mike, as I look at the Cardinals in 2006, if they're going to win, it's going to take pitching, and they may have the best pitching not just in the National League starting 5, but maybe in baseball.
There's no doubt about that, Danny. Anytime one of our starters goes to the mound, we got a good chance to win.
You excited? Ready to go?
Yeah, I am ready to go. This is my 3rd in this city. I've had 3 in a couple of other cities, but this is really neat here.
Now, very quickly, 10 seconds, your best guess for the first home run. You did it back in 66. Who gets it today? I'm putting you on the spot, Shannon.
I think it'll be one of the big boys. It'll be either Albert or Jimmy.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Thank you, guys.
The Clydesdales getting ready. Always a tradition here in St. Louis.
Opening
its homes have housed some of the greats of all time. The Gas House King, to Stan the Man, to McGuire, and on to Pujols. The torch of greatness has been passed on from generation to generation, from stadium to stadium. Opening day in St. Louis is like no other. It has special meaning this afternoon as we open up a new ballpark. It comes up next on FSN. Folks, we are under 1 hour away from the first pitch here on FSN of the new Busch Stadium, the home opener in 2006. This is the Tractor Supply weather report. Thank goodness we are not in Philly. Thank goodness we're not in Chicago. It is warm, 67 degrees. Humidity at 31%. Not that bad of a windy day. It is sun, warm, and a beautiful day for baseball here this afternoon as Milwaukee comes into town to open it up. And welcome back to our pregame show. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We have heard from Mike Shannon and Al Raboski and a host of others, from Bill DeWitt, the fans, so many dignitaries, the Hall of Famers are here. It's been a lot of fun so far in our first hour getting you set for the home opener here on FSN. Well, if you're not really sure how this all lines up and how it's all come to fruition, let's give you a breakdown on the new Busch Stadium. This is brought to you by Hardee's, and we take a look at the seating first off. This is compared to the old Busch Stadium from '66 to 2005 and what we see now at the new Busch Stadium. The field level seats, the bleachers, the suites, the party rooms, and the official capacity. Now, what's a key down there is the bottom portion, the 43,975. That will be the official capacity once it's all brought in. Now, the Cardinals were able to add 1,800 seats before opening day, which meant about 45,000 more seats for what they had to get ready for the rest of the regular season. But they will continue to work on that left field line throughout this first month of the season, and we are home an awful lot. You'll see that throughout our telecast here today. You're also going to see some unique angles to the ballpark in conjunction with our director, Tom Mee. This is also a very, very good ballpark for what we do for television. So if you don't have a ticket, this would be a good thing for you as well at home. The playing surface, the Colorado Bluegrass, you see there, we had some bad weather about 2.5, 3 weeks ago when they put in that grass. It hasn't mattered one bit. The playing surface is plush, it is full, it is beautiful, and the players were saying it was absolutely awesome when they had a chance to work out last weekend here at Busch Stadium. Matter of fact, it was on Sunday when they worked out on that facility. So we are just about set to go again. We're under an hour away from our first pitch, and Joe Buck and Al Raboski will have the call here on FSN, and we will have a complete post-game wrap-up as well right here at the new Busch Stadium. We're back with more in just a moment. You can see the old courthouse from Busch Stadium and also a look at the arch. 101 in our countdown to our Velvet Cool under pressure. Opening day as they're getting the field set, and again, we are under an hour away from our first pitch. We will bring you the introductions of the Hall of Famers, the players. You're going to see the Clydesdales, the motorcade. It's going to be a lot of fun as we get you set for our first pitch here on FSN. It'll be Joe Buck and Al Raboski with the call and the play-by-play. Well, there is baseball to be played, of course, and let's take a look at the lineup for Ned Yost. Of course, Mike had a chance to visit with Ned Yost. They're off to a very good start at 5-1, and they're doing it with young players. It'll be Brady Clark, a guy that wasn't even supposed to make it to the major leagues. He'll lead it off, followed by the shortstop, J.J. Hardy. He's 3 for 4 against today's starter, Mark Mulder, for St. Louis. Then Jeff Jenkins, he's been a staple in the middle of that lineup for a number of years for Milwaukee. Carlos Lee, back for his second season. Then Bill Hall, Ricky Weeks, Prince Fielder. That's right, Cecil Fielder's son, at the age of 21, is playing over at first base. He has made the big club. A Milwaukee native, Damian Miller, is their catcher, and Tomo Oka will be the pitcher batting ninth for the Milwaukee Brewers. So that's a look at their lineup here this afternoon. Of course, the St. Louis Cardinals will have Mark Mulder going this afternoon. Let's check in again, once again, with Jim Hayes.
Dan, you meet all kinds out here beyond the bleachers. This is Luke from Belleville, and you can see Luke is a piece of work. Can we do a pan down, head to toe? He's in his formal wear. It looks like you're going to the prom, but you're just celebrating the home opener.
Opening day, man. You got to look good. You can't just wear jeans. This is like the day of your life right here.
What do you think of the new stadium?
It's unreal, unbelievably awesome. I couldn't have imagined something better. I had to dress up. I mean,
Now, this hat isn't the normal hat. What is this, like?
I think it's crushed velvet.
It's like crushed velvet. Dan, I'm going to wear this hat for a spell. Now I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Another look at the skyline of downtown St. Louis in the brand new Busch Stadium. A lot of excitement here in downtown. Back with more on FSN in just a moment. A look at the camera from the left field line. It'll be Joe Buck and Al Hrabosky with the call of Cardinals baseball here this afternoon. Let's meet some of the heroes of the past, and in particular what they were able to do at the old Busch Stadium. We want to thank our new sponsor, Helitech, and they bring us our Helitech Heroes as we take a look at what some of these heroes were able to do at the old Busch as we open up this new ballpark. In the 60s, you take a look at one of the all-time greats, masterful, dominant Bob Gibson. How about in the 70s, Mr. Lou Brock? To the 80s, the acrobatic shortstop, the Wizard. In the 90s, it was Mark McGwire, and he passed the torch in 2000 to that man, Mr. Pujols. He very well could get the first home run in this ballpark. That's a look at your Helitech Heroes here on FSN. Well, of course, Albert Pujols will be in the lineup here this afternoon. The Cardinals started off very well on their 6-game road trip to begin the season by sweeping the Philadelphia Phillies, who coincidentally now are 1-5 on the year. They sweep the Phillies, then it's off to Chicago, and 2 of those 3 games outside of the game that Greg Maddux made the start and was dominant, the Cardinals very well could have won, but the bullpen let them down. But the offense at times, well, it struggled just a little bit. Let's take a look at the lineup for Tony La Russa's club, and this is brought to you by WIL. So here's a look at that WIL lineup for St. Louis. Scott Rowland, I think certainly you have to talk about him being a story. He will bat 5th, but let's give you the first 3. It'll be Eckstein, Encarnacion, who has struggled with runners in scoring position so far. Then Albert Pujols, who had 3 home runs in the first week of play. Edmonds will bat cleanup once again. Scott Rowland, 68 career games against the Brewers, 17 home runs. He has looked great in the first week of the season. And hopefully those questions of that shoulder are starting to go away with the way that he has played. Then Taguchi, Molina, Miles, and Mulder. Well, again, we want to thank Jim Hayes and also Joel Goldberg for their work this afternoon. Matter of fact, Joel checks in one final time as he is downstairs with some of the fans along with Jim Hayes. Guys?
All right, we told you earlier you meet all kinds out here beyond the bleachers. We showed you the guy in the tuxedo. This is Tom from Springfield. Get a load of my man here. Now, why did you decide to get all gussied up for opening day?
Hey, it's just opening day. You got to celebrate something. Actually, my 3rd time. I was here for the minor league game, then I was here Saturday for the open house, and thought, well, it's opening day, new stadium, we got to go all out. So
I don't want to speak out of school, but you could use a little conditioner.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Well, what can I say? It's having a beauty supply meeting this weekend. My hairdresser's gone, you know.
All right, Dan, I think you can give this guy some beauty tips.
Oh, I'll leave that up to you, Jim, but you're doing a good job out there with the fans here in St. Louis. Well, Joe and Al are standing by up in the booth. They will have the call of today's opening day as far as the home opener is concerned here in St. Louis. We'll visit with those two when we come back. 50 minutes in our countdown to first pitch right here on FSN. The home opener presented in crystal clear high definition on FSN. We're at Busch Stadium, opening day, the home opener for the St. Louis Cardinals. Back downstairs to Joel, who's with a Hall of Famer, inducted back in 1981, 251 career wins. One of the all-time greats, Joel, and that's Bob Gibson.
That's right. Always good to see Bob Gibson, and your first chance to come on out here. What are your thoughts?
Actually, this is my 2nd time. I was here Thursday morning and I got the grand tour. It's outstanding. I really love it.
How much when you come out here, opening day is always so much fun. I know for the fans to get a chance to see you and see Lou and see Red and see so many of the members of Cardinals past. How much fun is it to get out there in the motorcade, get out there and see all these people?
Well, you know, anytime you come back to St. Louis and you see all these great fans here, it's always wonderful. And I get a kick each year out of coming and getting in the motorcade and going around. And, you know, it's just nice that the people here remember what you did, and it's kind of like you never left.
The facilities here, top notch. I mean, you walk right behind us, and there's not only a batting cage back there, they've got a full mound back there for pitchers to throw indoors, the clubhouse, on and on. How much, when you look at this, do you say, man, I would have liked to have played in something like this?
Yeah, not only played, I think I could probably move in here and live here. It's just, it's really wonderful. I got to see all the food stands and everything. I saw a lot of the luxury boxes upstairs. They even got a room named Bob Gibson. I think that's great.
That sounds great. Thanks for the visit.
My pleasure.
All right, Bob Gibson. Dan, upstairs to you.
Hall of Famer, the number retired, number 45 here at the new Busch Stadium. Well, the guys that will bring you the action here this afternoon, Al Raboski, the Mad Hungarian, and Joe Buck. Those two are standing by. Joe, take it away.
All right, Danny, thank you. I don't think we're any different, Al, than anybody walking through the turnstiles here today. You can't help but just look around, look at the new sight lines, look at the people in here with all their red on and not get excited. And, you know, here we sit, I think, more than anything, wondering how this ballpark's going to play. Is it going to play as a pitcher's park, a hitter's park? What's it going to be like? I can't wait to find out.
Well, and that's going to be the fun thing about it. They wanted to have a neutral park, so it wouldn't favor the hitters nor the pitchers, and it appears that they've accomplished that. Of course, whenever you talk to hitters, they're always going to say, oh, this place plays big. You know, you can't hit a rocket to get it out of here. Talk to the pitchers, and they say, it's too small. But, you know, it's a fun place. It's, as far as the playing field, they all pretty much the same. This is a good one. The clubhouse is great for the players, but really all the other amenities are for the fans.
And the main thing is, you know, you can talk about this ballpark, the one just north of here. Doesn't matter. It's the folks coming through the turnstiles that make opening day and really an entire season of watching Cardinal baseball here at home so much fun. Any special opening day memories for you in your long career as a broadcaster or player?
Well, I remember one year we had a stopover in Little Rock before we came into St. Louis, played an exhibition game. Had a little tornado came through St. Louis, and I was picking up glass, cut my pitching hand, and of course I pitched that day, and the umpires were complaining about the blood on the ball, but it didn't stop me.
And you walked uphill both ways to and from the ballpark that day.
In 6 foot of snow.
That's Al. You'll expect more of that as we go along here this afternoon. I'm Joe. Let's go back to Dan McLaughlin.
Joe, good luck this afternoon with the Mad Hungarian Al Raboski. Well, that just about does it for some of our pregame programming. Of course, coming up, we've got the motorcade, the introduction of the players, and so much more. The Hall of Famers will be introduced as well. Fans are still filing in. As a matter of fact, as I look beyond our cameras up here in our perch in the second level here at Busch Stadium, they're about 10 to 15 deep in the turnstiles trying to get in. And the Stand the Man statue is right here, right in front of us behind our cameras. So we get a look at some of the people out there in the streets, and it's like a holiday here in St. Louis. Having some fun as it's close to 70 degrees. Doesn't seem to be a cloud in the sky. A little breeze. It's absolutely perfect compared to what we had the last week or so in Philadelphia and Chicago. Just horrible baseball weather. It was so cold. You know, the players, it wasn't easy for them. And it certainly wasn't a lot of fun for the fans as well. So from the fans to the coaches to the broadcasters, how about the players? Are they ready to go? You know they are. They're ready to go for opening day here in 2006.
I don't think it's going to be a huge adjustment. I think that, you know, once you get the feel for how the ball's carrying, and you know, I mean, the walls are basically, they're going to be the same. You know, you have a warning track and you get used to it pretty quick because we play in a lot of different parks.
That's going to be a little tough. You know, sometimes you go into a surrounding and you know what to expect, whether it's a small ballpark, big ballpark, what the wind's doing. So it should be exciting for everybody, and I think we'll learn pretty quickly.
Great to be a part of when it's opening day and everything's new, and you got all this nervous energy because it's your first game, and then you got the energy from the crowd, and you got the energy from both teams, you know, battling for a win. So it's always fun.
Was there any doubt that the players are getting excited? There's no doubt about it. 42-10 to go in our countdown to first pitch. Of course, the majority of the action will be seen right here in your home of the Cardinals, FSN. So we're about a minute away, and of course the starter will be Mark Mulder for St. Louis. Yadier Molina headed to the bullpen along with Jeff Murphy, the bullpen catcher. And some of the sights and sounds here on opening day in downtown St. Louis. We welcome you to Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis, the home opener in 2006. Not just any home opener, though. It is the grand opening of the new Busch Stadium. It's been sold out for months. Of course, the beautiful downtown skyline, the gateway to the west, the Arch here in St. Louis. Highlights at Skyline. And most of the fans have made their way inside to Busch Stadium as we get you set for the introductions of the players, the Hall of Famers, and the coaches. It's like a holiday here in St. Louis when you consider what's happening. So many people get off of work, come down to Busch Stadium and take in the home opener here in St. Louis. And there's a look at what still is left to be remained down the left field line at Busch Stadium. Some of those seats still not in, probably won't get in until late July, early August. Well, how about the timeline and how it got here, how it's come to fruition? Back on April 8th of 2000, the plans were unveiled for a new stadium. And then on December 19th, work begins on the south parking lot. January of 2004, the official groundbreaking ceremony. Anheuser-Busch would become the exclusive rights holder as far as the naming rights. Back in 2005, the demolition of the old Busch Stadium begins as they started the wrecking of it. And then December 8th, 2005, the final pieces of old Busch Stadium fall. And now we have this beautiful, brand new ballpark. And we still have some construction, like I said, to go when you talk about what's happening down the left field line. And with those seats that still remain to get in, and also in Ballpark Village. Now, there's a look at it, and I'm sure we'll pan a little bit more right. You'll see that some of the seats are there, and some of them are missing as well. But the only reason is because of the concession and whatnot. Now, we're set to go, and let's go downstairs to our PA man, John Hewlett, here at Busch Stadium with the introduction of our Hall of Famers, coaches, staff, and the players. John.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to baseball heaven. The new home of your St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to opening day of this historic inaugural season of the new Busch Stadium. I'm John Hewlett. As fans 21 and over enter the ballpark today, they were given a Busch brand magnet schedule commemorating this inaugural season at Busch Stadium. Thank you to Busch brand beer for providing us with another great magnet schedule giveaway. Cardinals fans, to begin today's ceremonies, please direct your attention to Ford Plaza beyond the left field bleachers, where today we will raise for the first time in the new era of Busch Stadium the flags of the state of Missouri, the city of St. Louis, and your St. Louis Cardinals. First, to honor the great state of Missouri, please welcome an esteemed member of the Missouri Air National Guard, which serves not only our state, but our entire country with pride, honor, and dignity, Senior Airman Paul Carney. On behalf of all Cardinal fans, we thank you for your service, Paul. And now, to raise the flag of the city of St. Louis, representing the Cesar Little League and the Cardinals Redbird Rookies program, please welcome a very young Cardinals prospect and the future of Cardinals Nation, Gavin Zimbro. And finally, to raise the flag of your two-time defending Central Division champion, St. Louis Cardinals, we introduce you to two generations of Cardinals fans. Mary Jane Thaman and Jackie Niekamp, a mother and daughter who never miss spring training or a Cardinals home game. Mary Jane and Jackie are emblematic of Cardinals fans, loyal and devoted to their team, beloved by their fellow fans, and the everyday most valuable players to the St. Louis Cardinals organization. Thank you, Mary Jane and Jackie. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Milwaukee Brewers, beginning with the coaching staff. Head trainer, Roger Kaplinger. Assistant trainer, Dan Wright. Strength and conditioning specialist, Rick Spenner. Equipment manager, Tony Migliaccio. Number 14, first base coach, Dave Nelson. Number 16, hitting coach, Butch Weiniger. Number 19, bench coach, Hall of Famer, Robin Yount. Number 29, third base coach, Dale Swaim. Number 35, bullpen coach, Bill Castro. Number 36, pitching coach, Mike Maddox. Number 54, bullpen catcher, Marcus Hannell. And number 56, batting practice pitcher, Joe Crawford. Now the Milwaukee Brewers, number 3, manager Ned Yost. Number 1, Corey Hart. Number 6, Jeff Cirillo. Number 18, Gabe Gross. Number 21, Chad Moeller. Number 30, Rick Helling. Number 31, Dave Busch. Number 38, Matt Weiss. Number 39, Chris Capuano. Number 41, Dan Kolb. Number 43, Justin Lear. Number 47, Corey Koski. Number 48, Jorge De La Rosa. Number 49, Doug Davis. Number 50, Jared Fernandez. Number 52, Jose Capian. Number 55, Tomo Oka. Number 59, Derek Turnbow. And now today's Brewers starting lineup. Number 27, center fielder Brady Clark. Number 7, shortstop J.J. Hardy. Number 5, right fielder Jeff Jenkins. Number 45, left fielder Carlos Lee. Number 2, third baseman Bill Hall. Number 23, second baseman Ricky Weeks. Number 28, first baseman Prince Fielder. Number 26, catcher Damian Miller. And batting ninth and pitching number 55, Tomo Oka. Ladies and gentlemen, the Milwaukee Brewers. And now, Cardinal fans, please direct your attention to the right field wagon gate as we continue a long-standing tradition that will be carried over from the old Busch Stadium to the new. Ladies and gentlemen, the Budweiser Clydesdales.
You don't know how the ball's going to travel, you know, whether it's a pitcher's park, a hitter's park. I mean, you don't know. But I don't think anybody on this staff actually worries about that. You know, I'm excited for a new stadium for the simple fact that I had Oakland, which was a football place, Busch, which was beautiful, but it was just old, you know. But to have this new stadium, you know, it's good as far as for the players especially.
The opening day last year was amazing. I have never been a part of such a great festivities. It was unreal, and you know, I mean, just to sit back and never play a game in Busch and get a standing ovation from the crowd was, you know, I mean, it just makes you feel really welcome. And we got some new guys again, and I know they're going to be amazed by the situation. But those types of fans, the loyalty of the fan definitely gets to the player.
We welcome you back to Busch Stadium, the new Busch Stadium, before the first pitch. We are rapidly approaching it, about 20 minutes until 3 o'clock. And as you know from years past, there's plenty more to come as we go through our opening day ceremonies. And there's so much more to come as Fredbird makes his way onto the field, and some of the Hall of Famers that come back to grace us with their presence are on their way out to the field as we speak. It's really a tradition that you don't see anywhere else across baseball, with the individual players being introduced, the Hall of Famers coming back, going around the warning track, waving to the fans. It's such an interactive moment between Hall of Famers and current players and fans, coaches, and everybody gets their little moment in the sun before we start to play baseball for real in this new home. Could not have a better day weather-wise to christen this new ballpark. The only thing that's left is for Mark Mulder to pitch a gem and the Cardinals to snap this 3-game losing streak and start on the right foot in their new home. So Mulder makes his way out to the bullpen, and now the Hall of Famers make their way out onto the field.
Some past Cardinal players, coaches, current Cardinal players.
So Stan Musial is first onto the warning track, and Al Raboski, they had the rededication of his statue outside this ballpark. And I can't think of a better way to officially start the home season in this new park than to rededicate his statue. He is one of the greatest humans, let alone one of the greatest baseball players ever to play.
Well, you can see Bob Gibson in the convertible, but I think it's important to talk about Stan because, you know, he missed the final game at Busch Stadium due to health reasons, so great to see Stan Musial healthy and back out of the ballpark where he belongs.
So from Stan Musial to Bob Gibson, and then the reaction for Lou Brock. And I think we say this every year, how lucky are we that we have all of these Hall of Famers that are not just Hall of Famers and they went into Cooperstown wearing the Cardinal cap, but now Red Schoendienst, they always want to come back and be a part of everything that this organization is doing, and not one of these gentlemen would miss this day for anything in the world.
And for the 5, including Ozzie Smith, live right here in St. Louis. But it's just think about the Milwaukee Brewers. As they're sitting there in the dugout, they see the Clydesdales. Now they see this parade of some of the greatest players to ever play the game. And, you know, they have a Hall of Fame coach in Robin Yount on their bench right now. But this is a real thrill for these players.
Well, you think about just the relative youth of this Milwaukee team, with Weeks a 23-year-old and Hardy's a 23-year-old and Prince Fielder's 21, and they've got to be sitting there wide-eyed watching this all unfold before them before the start of this game.
And you'd like to hope and think that they know who these guys are.
Here comes a new Hall of Famer.
Bruce Sutter. Yeah, we forget about Bruce, don't we? You know, I mean, how can you forget about his split finger and how devastating? Tony was calling on him last night.
Yeah, he needed him last night at Wrigley Field, and it's nice to know that he will head in with a Cardinal cap on his head. And as you go from Musial to Gibson to Brock to Schoendienst to Ozzie to Bruce Sutter, you see some of the young Milwaukee players out there soaking it all in as well.
He turned 21 years of age last year. We had a big party here for him. Fredbird, Antique Fredbird, that nice white Ford truck. Continuing with opening day tradition, please welcome past Cardinals. 1969, number 6, Stan the Man Musial. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1981. One of the fiercest competitors in Major League Baseball history, number 45, Bob Gibson. This gentleman was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1985. Number 20, the base burglar, Lou Brock. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1989. Please welcome number 2, the old redhead, Red Shandies. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2002, number 1, the Wizard, Ozzie Smith. And to be inducted into the Hall of Fame very soon, this year in 2006, how about a hand for number 42, Bruce Sutter. And now, please welcome your Cardinals coaching staff, led by number 10, the manager, Tony La Russa. Number 18 is in the bullpen, pitching coach, Dave Duncan. Now we have number 8, the Cardinal hitting coach, Hal McRae. Number 38, bullpen coach, Marty Mason. He's in the bullpen right now. Now behind home plate, number 11, third base coach, the secret weapon, Jose Oquendo. He's at first base for every game in the coach's box. Number 39, first base coach, Dave McKay. Here's number 24, bench coach, Joe Patini. And a new member of the Cardinal coaching staff, number 33, Larry Walker. And now, Cardinals fans, welcome into their new home, your 2006 St. Louis Cardinals. Already in line, number 7 infielder Hector Luna, followed by number 13 starting pitcher Sidney Ponson.
There's a sizable gap because they are refilling cars as we speak. The first part, they had their drop off behind home plate. Now there are about 15 cars lined up ready to go back in and load up. But here's a flaw in the new stadium. They can't load the cars quick enough.
I would have to think that it's pretty crowded back there in that right field corner.
My gosh.
And all the construction still going on and some of the new areas there, but I think they're probably, these Ford Mustang convertibles are selling like hotcakes. They're probably selling them if they get off the stadium.
That could be the case. Think about the first 4 men who were introduced: Musial, Gibson, Brock, and Shane Dean, standing in their 3rd Busch Stadium. And all represent this organization so well wherever they go. And now we're back to the home plate area. Jason Marquis.
Number 21, Cardinals starting pitcher Jason Marquis. Number 26, infielder Scott Spezio. Number 28, catcher Gary Bennett. Number 29, Cy Young Award winner in 2005, pitcher Chris Carpenter. Number 32, pitcher Josh Hancock. Number 33, outfielder Larry Bigby. In the bullpen, number 34, pitcher Randy Flores. Number 37, pitcher Jeff Suppan. This gentleman was drafted by the Cardinals several years ago. Now he's back in the bullpen. Number 41, pitcher Braden Looper. Here comes the closer, number 44, pitcher Jason Isringhausen. Next up from the bullpen, number 48, pitcher Brad Thompson. Also from the bullpen, number 50, rookie pitcher Adam Wainwright.
Al, I think a couple of guys that were just recently introduced are going to be I think, key factors as to how that bullpen's going to fare, and in turn how the Cardinals are going to fare. That guy right there, Adam Wainwright, who I'm more impressed with every time I see him pitch. I think he could develop into a real shutdown late innings eater. And the other is obviously Braden Looper, who was handed a lucrative multi-year deal to come here and be the bridge from either other members of the bullpen or the starting rotation to Jason Isringhausen. He had a good outing in Chicago, and it's time for him to start getting it together. Cardinals giving him the chance to pitch because, Al, he is going to be vitally important to the Cardinals' success.
Absolutely, and I had a chance to talk to Braden, and I gave him my take on what happened in spring training. And that was, and he agreed with me, he said that, you know, after coming off the surgery, cleanup surgery, he felt so good that he just didn't think that, you know, he didn't concentrate. He felt so good, it's just like he saw the stadium instead of seeing the catcher's mitt. But once you got into the regular season, you felt like everything would kick in, and it did. And he got ground balls. He got the ball down. The ball was elevated in spring training. He got this ground ball after ground ball after ground ball. He'll be fine.
Now with the traffic back up in the right field corner now, some of the other members of this roster are finally making their way to home plate. They're going to have to break the speed limit to get around the warning track and get them to home plate if we're going to start this game on time. But here's John Rodriguez at home plate, who really made such a splash when he came up from the minor leagues, and a guy that everybody likes to root for, who persevered, made it to the big leagues, and that was an important piece of the puzzle down the stretch and into the playoffs.
Yeah, he could be a big part. He had the shoulder problem in spring training, but he's healthy now. Schumacher, you and I were talking about him. He's a completely different ball player than the first time we saw him in his 3 stints a year ago. He's a contributor now.
So Schumacher is at home plate, and the roar is for Albert Pujols, who finally made his way out from behind that wagon gate area and just passed in front of the Cardinal bullpen, or Mark Mulder might want to slow it down a little bit as he gets ready for the start. But we're still about 20 minutes away from the start of this game, and the starting lineup is just now making its way onto the warning track. But there's no doubt that the bullpen issues, and there are issues at the moment, will smooth out once everybody figures out where they fit in the mix. And I think there are pieces down there, Al, that can really work out well. But as of the moment, it's just all up in the air because that 8th inning nail-it-down guy in Braden Looper is still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, your closer's most important, then your 8th inning guy is the second most. And if Looper doesn't do it, you know, I mean, this team's in trouble with the commitment they made to him financially. But I think he's going to be fine. And then the days that you want to shut down Isringhausen, you've got a bona fide closer with experience in Braden Looper.
I mean, Looper's a guy, as David Eckstein gets introduced, Looper's a guy who's been on a World Series champion. He's a guy who's been a closer in New York. He'll be fine. But now we concentrate on the starting lineup, and here is a new Cardinal, Juan Encarnacion.
New to the Cardinals this year, number 43, Juan Encarnacion.
Here comes the MVP.
Batting third, number 5, first baseman, MVP, Albert Pujols. Batting fourth, playing center field, number 15, Jim Edmonds. He's back, ladies and gentlemen, batting fifth and playing third base, number 27, Scott Rowland. Batting sixth today, playing left field, number 99, So Taguchi. Catcher Yachty.
Here comes the MVP.
Batting third, number 5, first baseman, MVP, Albert Pujols. Batting fourth, playing center field, number 15, Jim He's back, ladies and gentlemen, batting fifth and playing third base, number 27, Scott Rowland. Batting sixth today, playing left field, number 99, So Taguchi. Catcher Yadier Molina is in the bullpen. Batting eighth today, playing second base, number 12, Aaron Miles. And batting ninth, also in the bullpen, number 30, starting pitcher today, Mark Mulder. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2006 St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals fans, Busch Stadium could not have been possible without you, the best fans in baseball. And while it has been custom to give our fans the honor of singing the national anthem on the final home game of the season, we couldn't think of a better way to christen the new Busch Stadium than by borrowing from tradition and asking our fans on this historic opening day to once again take the stage and sing our Star-Spangled Banner. Following the anthem, direct your attention overhead where the 131st Fighter Wing F-15s out of Lambert St. Louis International Airport, led by Lieutenant Colonel Scratch Young, will conduct a flyover in a salute to the freedom we cherish as a nation. And now, please rise and remove your caps and join in as the world's largest and finest choir pays tribute to these United States with the singing of our national anthem. Cardinals fans, it's nearly game time. To formally open a new era of Cardinals baseball, let's introduce the men who will take part in the ceremonial and historic first pitch in the new Busch Stadium. Last season, the Cardinals compiled the best record in baseball with 100 wins, and in the process accomplished a feat for the first time in club history, winning the Cy Young and Most Valuable Player awards in the same season. Today marks the first occasion Cardinals fans can applaud their 2005 heroes. National League Cy Young Award winner Chris Carpenter and National League Most Valuable Player Albert Pujols. After winning Comeback of the Year honors in 2004, Chris Carpenter went 21-5 last season, posting a 2.83 earned run average while winning 13 straight games as the Cardinals ran away with the Central Division title. Chris completed 7 games, tossed 4 shutouts, and displayed a competitive fire in the same spirit as the last Cardinal to win the Cy Young Award, Hall of Famer Bob Gibson. Please welcome home Cy Young Award winner Chris Carpenter. And joining Chris today is your National League MVP. He hit .330 with 41 home runs and 117 RBIs in 2005, while ranking among the National League leaders in virtually every hitting category, all while becoming a complete player defensively. He's the 13th Cardinal to win MVP honors and the first Cardinal to be named the league's very best since Willie McGee won MVP honors in 1985. Please welcome home the National League MVP winner, Albert Pujols. Cardinals fans, Chris Carpenter and Albert Pujols. And now, teaming with Chris Carpenter for this historic moment, please welcome the only other St. Louis Cardinal to win the Cy Young Award. He won the honors in 1970 and 1968 when he was also named the National League's MVP. Today, he'll be on the receiving end of a Chris Carpenter delivery. Please welcome two-time World Series MVP, Hall of Famer, Bob Gibson. And finally, we have one Cy Young winner pitching to another. We should have one Most Valuable Player throwing to another, don't you think? So please say hello to Albert Pujols' battery mate today. He's the last Cardinal to win MVP honors in 1985 when he led the league in batting average and hits and led the Cardinals to the National League pennant. Welcome home, Willie McGee. Bob, Willie taking their spots on either side of home plate. And soon we will launch a new era of Cardinals baseball in Busch Stadium with these historic first pitches from Chris Carpenter and Albert Pujols. And there they are. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Willie and Albert. And now, Cardinals fans, for the first time here at Busch Stadium, let's play ball.
A special moment with Willie McGee, Bob Gibson, Albert Pujols, and Chris Carpenter. Absolutely gorgeous day to open a new ballpark in downtown St. Louis. The stage has already been set with a fantastic pregame ceremony, which included the Clydesdales, the great Stan Musial. Tony La Russa introduced to a rousing ovation, and our flyover after our national anthem. When we come back, Mark Mulder takes on the Milwaukee Brewers. Cardinal baseball is coming up on the other side of this break. Stay with us. Yeah.
Opening day.
A new ballpark.
A new beginning.
Another season of hope.
The best fans in baseball.
Cardinal baseball.
Next on FSN.
Thank you, gentlemen. How about right now? Cardinal baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. Refreshingly smooth Bud Light. Always worth it. By Auto Tire, the tire pros. For the lowest bottom line price, you ought to go to Auto Tire. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. And by Southwest Airlines, with more flights to more places than ever before. Southwest is taking low fares farther. Visit southwest.com. Good to be back in the booth with you, Mr. Raboski, as we get ready to go on this absolutely perfect day. It's been a great beginning. How's it going to end? That's up to Mark Mulder and this Cardinal lineup. The Cardinal bullpen taking on a vastly improved Milwaukee Brewers team, which has come roaring out of the gate at 5-1. Ned Yost is in his 4th season as manager. His starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Brady Clark will lead it off. Then it's J.J. Hardy, the shortstop. Jeff Jenkins in right. Carlos Lee off to a fast start, hitting .368, cleaning up. And Bill Hall, Ricky Weeks, Prince Fielder. Damian Miller and Tomo Oko is the pitcher, batting the number 9 spot. Ned Yost is, I think, rapidly making a name for himself as a very good manager in this game, and a guy who learned under the tutelage of Bobby Cox for so many years in Atlanta. Last year, this was a Milwaukee team that finished 500, and he did it with a lot of young players, and a lot of that experience is paying off as we start 2006. Off we go. Mark Mulder is set to go. He made a start in Philadelphia, did not get a decision. The Cardinals won the game. As you know, he went 7, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits. The first pitch in a new park is a ball up and away, and Mark Mulder is the Cardinals half, the Advanced Auto Parts pitching matchup.
He pitched very well in that first game. Nighttime against the Brewers. He's 2-1. He had one very good game and a disastrous game, and already we have our first beach ball. Or is that a big baseball? That's the baseball that I throw today.
That is how it looked to Cubs hitters in that recent series with the home run ball. What's going on at Wrigley Field with the wind blowing in? Talking to Tony La Russa, he said it doesn't matter how the park plays, wind blowing in, wind blowing out. You throw it down the middle, they're going to hit it out.
Oh, he's made some careless pitches, middle half in.
Here's a line drive to Miles. 1 up, 1 down, and a good start for Mark Mulder, who started the home opener last year. Take a look at the defense. We go around the horn. It's brought to you by Auto Tire. Taguchi in left, Edmonds in center, Encarnacion in right. Around the infield rolling, Eckstein, Miles, and Pujols, with Molina catching and Mulder on the mound. Is it me, or was that first blast out of the PA system at about 9,000 decibels? They got to fine-tune everything from the motorcade to start the on-field ceremonies to the PA system here. 0-2 on J.J. Hardy, the 23-year-old shortstop.
Well, here's another example of what you're talking about. A couple years ago, he came to the big leagues. He was recovering from shoulder surgery, and he said, I was just like a pitcher, just trying to feel for contact. And now he's healthy, and he's letting it fly.
On 0-2, a breaking ball's popped up into right. Carries pretty well. Encarnacion near the track, and now a step on it, 2 out. Let's set a few things up here early. Coming out to the ballpark before this game, you and I were watching batting practice and down on the field, talking to pitchers, talking to hitters, talking to Tony La Russa. To a man, they all said this ballpark plays big. They wanted it to be fair. They wanted to try to split it down the middle, but if they wanted to err on one side, they wanted it to play as a more pitcher-friendly park, and the early returns are that's exactly what they've got. With 2 out, nobody on, here is Jeff Jenkins, a longtime Brewer, takes a ball.
And Joe, one of the things to look forward to is they did lower the outfield wall to only 8 feet. So I think Jim Edmonds can hurdle that.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Jenkins shatters his bat. Grounds weakly to Miles, and that will do it in the first inning. You know who's going to lead it off for the Cardinals in the bottom half. Great start for Mulder. Down go the Brewers, 1, 2, 3. Cards coming up. No score. Time to test out the beer taps and the nacho machine and the soda machine and you name it. They broke the seal on those machines last week during that minor league game, but it kind of counts a little more today when everybody's in here at full price. The starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Eckstein, Encarnacion off to a slow start, then the MVP. Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland, So Taguchi, with Yadier Molina, Aaron Miles, and Mark Mulder, the bottom 3. Here's David Eckstein, who could not have had, Al, a better first year as a Cardinal last year.
Absolutely. He was phenomenal, made the all-star team, but what an igniter and spark plug. You just put winner on his front of his jersey.
Eckstein takes a ball outside from Tomo Oka, who lifetime is a career 500 pitcher against the Cardinals. Pitched to Gem in 2004 for Montreal. Remember Montreal? They used to be in the National League. 1-0 pitch is in for a strike. A ball and a strike from Tomo Oka, and he is the Rico pitching matchup from Milwaukee.
And a very good start. His first time out, got a no decision.
Eckstein slaps it foul.
He will throw the pitch that he's incorporated, which Mike Maddox, Greg Maddox's older brother, the pitching coach for Milwaukee, is incorporated with a lot of the guys, and Oka is adopted, is the cutter.
Eckstein trying to set the table for Encarnacion and Pujols, and he slaps it to the right side for Ricky Weeks. Second baseman's already made 2 errors on the young season. No problem with that. Encarnacion coming up. The auto tire around the horn for the Brewers. Out in left, Lee. In center is Brady Clark. In right, it's Jeff Jenkins around the infield. Bill Hall, young player. J.J. Hardy, younger. Ricky Weeks, younger. Prince Fielder's 21. He's at first base, and Damian Miller is the veteran catcher who has a World Series ring in his possession from his days with the Diamondbacks. Here's Encarnacion. Everybody waiting for Juan to figure it out at the plate. Not going to hit in a better spot in any lineup in the National League than in front of Albert Pujols. He's had some pitches to hit, but hasn't done anything with them. Strike 1 from Oka.
He's had great opportunities to drive in runs, too.
0-2 in a blink. So far, 4 for 23 at the start of the year for a guy who has consistently put up very solid numbers as an outfielder, either for Detroit or more recently for the Marlins. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sal, you talk about that 8-foot tall fence. That's what an 8-foot tall fence looks like. It was 10 feet at the old Busch. So hopefully we'll get some good pictures out of that camera right down the left field line and get a nice peek. Either some catches over the wall, or if baseballs actually leave the park or hit the top of the fence. Encarnacion is on, and he looks to be okay. 1 on, 1 out.
You're worried anytime that ball up around the letters, because the hands come up and a lot of little fragile bones in the hands. He says he's okay.
And then Barry Weinberg slaps him in the face for good measure. Like it caught him up around the meatier part of the arm.
Bicep or something. That's better than the hands. And
yes.
Especially when it's not our body.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't hurt him at all. As we sit up here miles away from home plate. Here's Pujols. Good start for Albert. 6 hits, 20 at bats, and 3 of the hits have left the park. Ball 1. That t-shirt will run you, well, who knows? I think that means it's number 26 out of the big bin, or is it 26 bucks? 26 dollarinis for the old Pujols shirt.
He's worth it.
Yeah. If there's anybody in this game today, I don't mean this game at Busch Stadium. I mean in the game of Major League Baseball playing in some park, it's worth every dollar that an organization pays them. As exorbitant as the total is, it's Albert Pujols. Last year's MVP, and thank goodness he finally won it. He has been deserving almost every year he's been with a team.
The best thing is he said he would trade that in for a World Series ring.
And I believe him.
I believe him too, but I think in order for the team to get that World Series ring, we want that MVP type contribution, which he'll be more than happy to give you.
A career .332 hitter as he waits for a 1-1 pitch from Tomo Oka. Down and away, 2-1. 204 career home runs. And he is the only player in Major League Baseball history through his first 5 seasons to hit 30 or more home runs. 2 balls and a strike with Encarnacion on at first, 1 out. That's low, 3-1. Home plate umpire is St. Louis and Ron Copeland.
You know, he was with the Chicago crew, but because he is a St. Louisan and this is a very special day, that they allowed him to make this appearance here and get the honor of being the home plate umpire in the very first game of this stadium.
Very good Major League umpire is Ron Copeland. Here's a dangerous pitch from Oka, and it skips in there for ball 4. So a hit batsman, a walk, and the table is set for Jim Edmonds here in the first inning. Today's game on FSN is also being presented in high definition. Sounds angelic, and can be found on Charter Communications channel 792, Dish Network channels 9428 or 9467. Which would be one fantastic double play. 9-4-6-7. 2 on, 1 out. Edmonds has 4 hits, 1 homer, 3 RBIs. Who's going to hit the first home run here?
He hit about 3 balls that should have been out in Chicago.
That's foul. Got out in front, hooked it foul. And we'll get an early look at how the corners play. How a ball right down the line carries. 335 down the right field line. I think it's 336 down the left field. I can't see it from where I sit.
I believe it. You are correct.
And then center field is 400 feet out, 2 feet shy of the number that was painted on the wall at the old Busch. Here's an 0-1.
And of course, prior to them moving in the fences, it was 414 to dead center field.
Runners on at first and second, 1 out. No score here in the bottom of the first, and Edmonds hits one to center field. Brady Clark is there and fighting the sun. Makes the catch. Tagging and moving to third is Encarnacion. It's first and third, 2 out for Rowland.
Jim hitting a little tough luck. Every time he hits the ball in the nose, it's right at somebody or in the teeth of the wind. But Scott Rowland off to a great start in driving in runners.
In case you're wondering, the first home run that was hit at the previous Busch Stadium was Felipe Alou for Atlanta. Wonder if this park will be christened in that way at some point today. Maybe Rowland like he did last night in the first inning at Wrigley. Strike 1. Gave the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. Sidney Ponson was pretty good in his first regular season start for the Cardinals, but the bullpen could not hang on.
How about Scott Rowland playing every day the first 7 games?
1 ball, 1 strike.
I think if you would have told Tony La Russa that he could pencil in Scott Rowland's name the first 7 games of the season, he would have been a little bit surprised.
And not just that, but to swing it on cold nights the way he has been able to swing the bat with that left shoulder and the surgery he went through last year. Here's a 1-1. That's just blown right by his bat. 94 miles per hour on our gun. Remember Oka throwing that hard. It's 1-2.
And he's got a wide assortment of pitches. But it does seem like that's a little bit high octane for him. Remember, he was acquired from Washington on June 10th of last year in exchange for a guy named Junior Spivey,
who was playing at AAA Memphis.
And apparently swinging the bat very well.
Oka has Roland set up at 1-2. First and third, 2 out. And in case the Cardinals were going to try to steal a run with 2 outs and 2 strikes on the hitter. The old step to third, look to first move. Mark that down. 3:30 Central Time. The new Busch Stadium, the first step to third, look to first. Here's a 1-2. Roland able to lay off 2-2. For last year when he was fighting through all that shoulder pain, what hurt Roland more were the check swings, starting a swing and stopping, put all the stress on that shoulder, and it was one of those types of efforts right there, and no problem. 2-2. And Scott give the Cardinals the first inning lead. That just missed. Oka started to walk off thinking the inning was over, and instead it's a full count. Encarnacion hit by a pitch. He's at third. Pujols drew a walk. He's at first. Pujols runs. Roland fouls it away. This will be a Milwaukee team that over the next handful of years you can no longer discount coming into the start of the season.
About 12 bad seasons get you a lot of high draft picks, and they made the most of them.
Seems like it. And a lot of that talent on display in the lineup today for Ned Yost. Another 3-2 pitch, another foul ball. A couple of new faces, at least new/old faces in the dugout for the Milwaukee Brewers. Dale Swaim, who had been with Boston as a coach, was picked on mercilessly by the media up there, is back with the Brewers. And Robin Yount, the Hall of Famer, is back in the dugout standing alongside Yost. Another 3-2. Bases are loaded for So Taguchi. So 2 walks, a hit batsman. But it still takes something from Taguchi if the Cardinals are going to score here in their first at bat in this ballpark.
Well, we don't know if Oka and Taguchi have matched up in Japan, but we can say in the major leagues, So is 0 for 1. A little slow start for So, but a lot of Japanese media, and this would be a time to make a splash.
Bases loaded, 2 down, no score in the first. Up and after an 83-mile-an-hour delivery. Strike 1. We pulled out all the stops for you here this afternoon. Not only cameras down here at ground level and different parts of the park, but even up above, which will show you Sky Fox is overhead. Taguchi lines one to the shortstop, J.J. Hardy, to end the inning. That got a rise out of this crowd, but no runs in the first as the Cardinals leave the bases loaded. Sky Fox overhead, down below, second inning. Cardinals. Who's raising the bar? Tonight's singular wireless text message question is, in the 40-year-old history of Busch Stadium, how many games were postponed? There's no way anybody could possibly know that answer. Text your vote to 42957. Stay tuned for results later in the game.
On a beautiful sunny afternoon, we think about postponements.
Well, I mean, that's always the worry when you build everything toward one grand opening. Here's Carlos Lee. El Caballo floats one into right center field and drops one in for a hit, adding to his .368 average. That's the first hit at the new ballpark, and other than the first home run, that's the last I'm doing it.
You know, for some reason, the Cardinal pitchers have really had Carlos Lee's number. I think he was batting 136 against them. But he is a very dangerous hitter, off to a good start, so look out. He's 8 for 20 now with a couple home runs and 5 RBIs.
So he's on to start the inning, and the batter is Bill Hall. And he shoots one into deep right center field. Edmonds back at the wall. It's gone. Home run, Bill Hall. 2-0 Milwaukee as the Brewers jump out in front. And there is the first home run hit at this Busch Stadium. Belongs to Milwaukee and Bill Hall.
You had to talk about it, didn't you?
A base hit, a 2-run home run. And if somebody is silly enough to throw that ball back onto the field, I'm going to run down there and grab it.
See Molina set up away, and that ball right back over the middle of the plate. And Bill Hall, you know, Koski was just handed to them. Or otherwise, Bill Hall would be probably playing every day at third base, where he is today.
Corey Koski had made 4 starts at third base, but against the lefty, Koski sits. Hall starts, and Hall gives his teammates a jolt. Second inning home run. 1 ball, 1 strike as that one drops low and away from Mulder. So Lee a base hit into right center, and Hall a home run into right center. Here's the 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mark Mulder is part of a rotation where 4 of the 5 guys are potential free agents at the end of the year. He brings home a 1-2, and he picks up his first strikeout of the day. Say this for Mark Mulder: he has said all the right things publicly about his contract and about being willing to listen during the season, about not wanting to hold the team up for the top dollar. He wants to be here. He'd like to get something worked out, and hopefully something will get done before the end of the year and they can hang on to the 28-year-old left-hander. Here's Prince Fielder. All kinds of power, like his dad Cecil, when he takes a strike over the outside corner.
Got off to a real slow start. 4 strikeouts the first day, 3 the next, but now he's hit.
That one fooled him. 0-2. He's got the build like his father. He is thick.
He was 0 for 11 with 7 strikeouts, and since that time 5 for 11.
Fastball drops low. Fielder last year hit 28 home runs at AAA Nashville. Got called up at the end of the year, hit 288 and 2 more home runs. The 1-2. A jam shot to first, picked up by Pujols. 2 down.
The base hit and the home run has woke up Mulder a little bit. He's made some great pitches since then.
Now the number 8 hitter, Damian Miller. 3 out of 14 for his start. The guy who helped to guide the Randy Johnson, Curt Schilling starting rotation duo for a world championship back in 2001. That's into right. Encarnacion is there, and after the hit in the home run, Mulder settles down and takes care of the next 3. The Brewers strike first here in the home opener. This is the first day at Busch Stadium, and I think, Al, on a day like this, the home opener, a new ballpark, you can fall into the trap of only talking about the stadium and not about the game, which is not our intent here this afternoon. But just looking at this setting and looking at the configuration of these seats and these fans that are packed in here, and the backdrop in downtown St. Louis and the old courthouse and the arch, it is a breathtaking view, and this is one of the most alive and beautiful ballparks I've ever been in.
Yeah, it's very nice, and what I can't wait to see is how the village out beyond that left field is going to take shape. You're still going to see the arch, you're still going to see the old courthouse, but that'll be fun to watch that take shape over the next 5 years.
That, to me, is as exciting as watching the Cardinals playing in a new ballpark, is seeing the potential and the possibilities of what could happen in Ballpark Village. The 1-1 pitch is high. It's 2 balls and a strike. It's Molina now, then Miles, then Mulder, the bottom 3 in the lineup.
And I think that because of this new stadium, like Old Busch Stadium, there's going to be there's going to be more development around it, particularly south.
That's in for a strike. 2-2 from Oka. And as we show you these pictures from the new ballpark, not only from inside but from beyond, looking into the stadium and from up above, Molina pops it up into shallow right. Jenkins coming on, and he calls off the second baseman and drops it. He pushed Weeks out of the way, couldn't get there in time. Glasses down, and that'll be an error to start this second inning.
Well, it's going to be very interesting. You see Weeks back up, then he hears his right fielder call it off, flips down the glasses, checks and sees where he is, and I think that ball just kept on eluding him a little bit, and then it hit him on the heel. But it's going to be very interesting that this is going to be a real sun field in center and right.
And along with that, Al, you look at the flags and the effect that the wind is having on them. They are starched. The wind is blowing pretty good in downtown St. Louis at the moment, and Aaron Miles, who is off to a great Cardinal start, 7 out of 18, takes a strike.
Another one of these guys that paid his dues, 7-8 years in the minor leagues, and little switch hitter. Make the plays defensively, and you'll take his offense.
Miles slaps it down the left field line, and Lee is over to get it. 1 on, 1 out. That error was the 5th of the season for the Brewers as they play in their 7th game. I'm starting to say that we bring you the pictures from this new ballpark. We'd also like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, watching today's broadcast in 176 countries on AFN, the American Forces Network. Thanks for all you do, and I'm sure there are some watching in 176 countries around the world who grew up Cardinal fans. It is a banner day in the history of this franchise, as the throw to second is the first out. The return throw to first is wide and not in time anyway, and Molina is forced out at second. 1-6. Down at first is Mulder, who could not get a good enough bunt down to advance Molina.
Well, Molina goes hard into young J.J. Hart. He throw a little high, so he's hung out to dry. But, you know, if the Milwaukee wants to play this good baseball, they're off to a 5-1 start. Veteran teams like the Cardinals going to say, comes with a price. You're going to have to play a little hardball against us.
So now Eckstein steps in with Mulder at first and 2 out. Oka has come out of this dugout and out of the bullpen today, throwing hard. Just to have good stuff with him at the moment. They play behind Mulder at first. Eckstein drops down a bunt. Going to take a good play from Hall. Barehanded pickup, no throw. And Eckstein has his 6th hit of the season, a bunt hit to set up Encarnacion.
Now David been struggling a little bit, so sometimes you go back to the basics, and that is bunting. Seeing the ball hit the bat. Defense, they're playing back there. Billy Hall has to make a Scott Rowland-like play, and probably did the smartest thing by not throwing. Talking about all of our friends in the armed forces, I got a call today from Colonel Robbins. Todd Robbins over in Iraq. You know, his lovely wife over here at Scott Air Force Base. She called and said, Todd called her today and said to say hello to us. And he's got a Hungo bobblehead with him over there. He's already been to, I've already been in Saddam's palaces and a few other places.
2 on with 2 out, 1 ball, no strikes on Encarnacion. 1 ball, 1 strike. Encarnacion, 4 hits, 23 at bats, hit his first time up, no RBIs so far. And this is a guy who last year in 500 at bats with the Marlins hit 287, 16 home runs, 76 RBIs. He is a proven big league run producer. And if he has been waiting for his time to bust out of it, now's the time. 2 balls and a strike with Albert next. Encarnacion's best season, he drove in 94 runs with the Marlins in 2003. Here's a 2-1. A jam shot out to short. Easy pickup for Hardy, and the throw ends the inning. So Encarnacion continues to struggle, and we go into the 3rd. The Brewers will have Oka Clark and Hardy coming up 2-0. What better way to spend an Easter Sunday afternoon than at the Cardinals game when they take on Cincinnati on April 16th. Bring your family down, and all fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive a new era of Cardinals baseball t-shirt. Compliments of Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Cardinals. Shop and save. For tickets, log on to stlcardinals.com and click on Prime Seat Club. Mulder back to work, third inning. First pitch, strike over the outside corner to Oka.
There are tickets remaining for all games this series. We released a few extra seats, so for like Wednesday, the outfield field boxes, there's 100 of them. Coca-Cola rooftop deck, 50 of those. You can always get them in the Prime Seat Club.
So if your impression of the first few games against the Brewers was that, well, I'll never get a ticket, I'll never get in there and see the new ballpark the first 3 games, that's not necessarily the case. Trouble out there, just bring it back with you.
I threw it over one time and he couldn't reach the 8-foot wall.
Gotcha. 0-2 on the Milwaukee pitcher Tomo Oka, and that was a give up at bat. He's happy with the way he's pitching, and why wouldn't he be? So far he's allowed only 1 hit. He has walked 2, leads 2-0, and we'll give you this Schnook State in history. In a 7-6 victory over the Cardinals in Denver, the Rockies turned the first triple play in team history, April 10th of 2003. Were you there?
Yep.
With 1 out, nobody on, back to the top of the order, and Brady Clark takes the ball.
Brady's off to a slow start, but he really showed last year what a good player he can be.
Absolutely. In fact, there were some teams that were trying to get him around the trading deadline. Tied up there, good pitch by Mulder, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Mulder has seemed like his pitches have more life this year, but he's kind of left some balls up and over the middle of the plate, like the home run pitch.
Here's his 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Clark, his first time up, lined out to second. Mulder had a perfect first. Allowed a hit and a homer in the second to Lee and Bill Hall. Cardinals have already stranded 5 runners through 2 innings. That's high. 3-1. Cardinals start the day with a .500 record, 2 games behind the Brewers. We're 5-1, a half game better than the Cubs. 3-1 pitch. Right side, Miles off the edge of his glove and into right, base hit. Miles has shown a lot of range already and did all he could to that ball, but came up a little short. 1 on, 1 out from J.J. Hardy.
You see his ball slicing and coming off the bat of a right-hander is going to continue to go away from Miles, just off the edge of his glove, but good solid effort there. That ball was hit hard.
Cardinals in the bottom of this inning will have Pujols, Edmonds, and Rowland. Mulder trying to keep it a 2-run game, and a check on the runner at first, Clark, who has not attempted a steal this season. Brewers are starting a 9-game trip. They're off to New York after St. Louis and then Houston. That's a strike over the inside corner, belt high, 0-1. There's a good look from Sky Fox. Up above on this crystal clear day. Not one cloud in the sky as the 0-1 pitch is brought to Hardy. Double play ball. Eckstein, that was room service. We go to the bottom of the third. Heart of the order coming up. Cards bats trying to wake up after that series in Chicago. 2-0 Milwaukee out on top on the Bill Hall home run. Our Ford dealers key matchup. The career numbers for Mark Mulder and Tomo Oka. Mulder only 3 wins shy of 100 for his career. Last year, a 16-game winner. Pujols hits it a ton. Wow, what a start on opening day. New ballpark, same old Albert.
That put a little charge in these fans. And of course, something we have again this year is the fireworks.
I'm not even sure if Carlos Lee, the left fielder, knows the inning started. He didn't budge. And Pujols destroyed it.
Went over the bullpen, but I think a lot of people were waiting to see if it would go over the stands.
I was. That leads the league now for Albert. The MVP has 4 home runs.
And that balance and just explosion as that ball explodes off his bat. Why did it take those people that long to react?
Because by the time they looked up, the ball was in somebody's pocket out and left. Wow. 1 ball, 1 strike. Edmonds hits one into right. That's pretty well hit. At the wall, off the wall. Like a rocket, back to back, Pujols and Edmonds, who scampers back to first with a ringing single.
That ball was hit nearly as hard as Albert's, but it had the top spin, so it never got the altitude. See the top spin that comes right there, and then it has a sinking action as it goes off the wall, just missing the wall by, what, a foot? And then he nearly got thrown out at first base.
So Edmonds is on at first, tying run aboard, nobody out, rolling up. And a strike hits the inside corner. So Edmonds now knows that with that wall and right, on a ball that hard, you got to bust it out of the batter's box to think about a double, and don't round first too fast if you don't, because you might get thrown out coming back to the bag.
And even though it's a padded wall, it seemed like it bounced off there perfectly to Jenkins, and he got it back into the infield quickly.
Introducing himself to Prince Fielder. It's that wall from the left field corner. Looking out towards center. 0-2 is the count on Roland, who so far is 9 for 24 to start the year. Good start. To the shortstop, Hardy. Weeks in the middle, can't get rid of it as Edmonds took him out. Force out 6-4, and it's 1 on, 1 out for So Taguchi.
Young middle infielders, they better not dilly-dally around or waste too much time, because second Cardinal runner to go right after him with a hard slide, hard clean slide, but look at a little happy feet. Ricky Weeks is prone to making some throwing errors also.
Our producer Mike Helling, our director Tom Mee, they'll mark that. If this inning turns into something bigger, the only reason why it's not 2 out and nobody on is the hustle that Edmonds put on. The second, the instant that ball was hit, busting it down to second base and getting into the second baseman Weeks hard with that slide, and that allowed Roland to reach first. He's there with only 1 out. You can hear Sky Fox overhead. Taguchi is jammed and he fouls it off to the left. Wouldn't the name Sky Fox, the title of a failed sitcom on Fox back in the late 80s?
Or if it wasn't, it should have been.
It should have been. It could have been.
They missed a winner.
0-2 on Taguchi. 2 for 12 is his start. Breaking ball misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Taguchi wouldn't chase it. Now the progression we saw with Taguchi over the time he spent with the Cardinals is what we've seen Schumacher do from the other side. A little more authoritative with his swing and much more of a threat at the plate. Now Taguchi wants time.
Tony was half kidding and half serious one time where he said, I want So to start coming out to spring training at 7 o'clock in the morning, stay till about 6.
That's into right center field for a hit, and Rolen will turn and go to third. First and third, only 1 out. The tying run 90 feet away. And again, because Edmonds broke up the double play, here's a great scoring chance for the Cardinals in the third.
And the reason Tony wanted him to spend those long days is he felt that American baseball wasn't long enough for him. He gets slow starts in spring training because they would train for about 12 hours in Japan. So he's going to put So on that same schedule. Nobody else but
he would have been
So.
lonely.
Yeah.
Well, here's a guy who I think is going to have a breakout year.
Absolutely.
Youngest Cardinal, Yadier Molina, 23 years old. Will turn 24 during the season.
And it's going to be because of his offense, Joe.
First and third, 1 down. Molina's already won a game for the Cardinals with his bat. You can't measure the importance he has behind the plate with what he does with the pitching staff, his throwing arm. He is as good a young player as this organization has developed outside of Albert Pujols in a long time.
He is a very smart, intelligent hitter. And he's not afraid to be in situations like this and be counted on to deliver.
Trying to go the other way, and it's 1-1.
You watch him, and a lot of times he'll come up and he'll survey the field and he'll sit there and say, okay, I get base hits out here. But at other times he'll come into an RBI situation and say, this is what I need to do. Al McRae looking on, but I think Pujols has had an influence with Molina. Got a good base runner over third base.
1-1. Chase that one. 1-2. Got a kick last year during the ALCS when I was in Anaheim in the clubhouse with Benji and Jose, his older brothers, who were glued to the TV when the Cardinals were playing against the Astros in the NLCS, and both separately told me that Yadier was the best player of the 3 Molina brothers. They're in the big leagues. Fights it off and fouls it out of play. His older brother Benji, who had a big year last year with the Angels and was hoping to cash it in for a big deal, kind of missed his opportunity and ended up signing a 1-year deal with Toronto, while Jose remained with the Angels.
Talk to any scouts and they will agree with their assessment that Yadier was going to be the best.
First and third, 1 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tying run at third base, and Oka's done that twice. It's one thing to do it. It's another thing to do it and just not look at all interested in trying to sell the fact that you're going to actually bring the ball to the plate.
Well, sometimes you're ordered that from the bench, but like you said, you don't believe in it.
Don't do it. Mike Maddox is the pitching coach. Al referenced him earlier, the older brother of Greg Maddox, who is still doing it for the Cubs.
Remember the pitch that Molina swung at that was up? You know, as a pitcher, sometimes in this situation, you try and get that pop up. And as a hitter, you say it's a sacrifice fly.
Is it going to be on 2-2? Molina shoots it into left field. Well hit. Back is Lee, and a leap and a catch. It's a long sacrifice fly. Both runners tag in advance, and it's a 2-2 game. You talk about lucky. Carlos Lee was lucky to catch that ball. He misread it off the bat and barely got back and made the catch, and he can smile about it now.
And going back there, and still he didn't really go back aggressively, and then jumped at the last second. Did get up there and got it in the webbing, and then good base running for Taguchi to go tag up and put himself in scoring position. Roland good base running by just standing on the bag and not coming down the line too soon.
The only reason, Al, this game is tied and the inning is still going is Edmonds hustling into second to break up the double play. And you can see it on that replay we had from behind first base. And when that ball was hit, a routine double play ball, he was intent on breaking up the double play, and that effort right there is why this game is tied.
Second Cardinal to do so today. Molina did it earlier. I think Tony might have had a few words after the weekend in Chicago.
Go ahead run at second for Miles as he takes it outside 1-1. Tony before the game said he really believes in this guy. And I know the numbers are inflated and huge after a week of play, but he said we're going to be okay with Miles out at second base.
I agree. And
pops up here, and that should end the inning. Clark, boy, it has got to be tough in that outfield with the way these big league outfielders are going after fly balls. This inning started with a blast, and in essence ended with a sacrifice fly. It's 2-2 Cardinals and Brewers after 3 in the home.
Today's game on FSN is also being presented in high definition and can be found on Charter Communications Channel 792, Dish Network channels 9428 or 9467. We got a tie ball game.
Yes, we do, sir. 2-2. Cards about hit Milwaukee 4-3. Milwaukee has the game's only error, and Albert has the first Cardinal home run. He is the answer to the new trivia question, who hit the first home run at Busch Stadium? The answer to the old trivia question, who hit the first home run at Busch Stadium? The last one the Cardinals were in is Mike Shannon, at least from the Cardinals side. Told you Felipe Alou hit the first overall. First overall here today was Bill Hall. The first Cardinal is Pujols now, and Mike Shannon back in '66. Here's a 2-0 from Mulder to Jenkins. Flips him. So you miss the left-handed batter here. He reaches. And now you have to deal with Carlos Lee, who started the day hitting .368, and he's 1 for 1 with a single and a run scored. Each pitcher has hit a batter. Lee floated a base hit into right center field, his first time up. There it is, Sky Fox. One on, nobody out. Strike one from Mulder. Carlos Lee, then Bill Hall, then Ricky Weeks. Cards turned to double play last inning, and now Lee's in the hole 0-2. I might as well have come into this stadium blindfolded earlier today. I didn't know where to park. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to get to the field, how to get to the press box.
I think now you're qualified to be a tour guide.
Here's an 0-2. I'm not that smart, so it'll take me at least a week to figure it out. She probably did better than I did.
She looks like she's having fun.
She's already in the temporary holding facility they have here at the new Busch Stadium. Nothing but trouble, that kid.
She got a tattoo already on her hand.
Somebody come bail me out. Look at those eyes. What a cutie. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Carlos Lee. 1 on, nobody out, and Lee reaches for it and just gets a piece. Let's take a look at the Cardinal schedule. As the Brewers are here now, the Reds are coming in next, a 3-game trip to Pittsburgh, and then a long homestand for the Cubs, Pirates, and the Nationals. Here's a 1-2. Instead, throw over. And by that time, I mean, to be fair, and it's already been a miraculous effort to get this ballpark open for opening day, but they'll have a lot of the kinks worked out by the next time the Cardinals come back for a homestand. Here's a 1-2. Lee breaks his bat. Miles gets the lead man. Eckstein can't get Lee at first in the force out 4-6. 1 on, 1 out. A great way to celebrate at this ballpark is in a Cardinals party room. The air-conditioned party rooms include complimentary beer, soda, and snacks, and some of the very best views in the ballpark. Perfect way to entertain clients, employees, or a group of friends. Great games are still available, but they're going fast, obviously. For more info, call 345-9500 or visit stlcardinals.com. Here is Hall, who has a home run today.
Remember, Bob Gibson was alluding to one of the party rooms named in his honor.
Yes.
They got all the party rooms named after the Hall of Famers, and unlike ones that they kind of adopted from the old visiting or the old football press box, these are just like the suites and very, very nice. And I think they even have some suites that aren't corporately sold that you can buy on a game basis.
That's down and in 2-0 on Hall. And because of the configuration of new ballparks, not just here but across baseball, these are not tucked away up and away where the old party rooms used to be. They are great spots in the stadium to watch the game.
Yeah, most of them are on the suite level,
which are lower than where we are. 2-0 pitch. He is hit down the left field line. That's a fair ball into the corner, and Lee will dig for third. Taguchi's got to dig it out, and he does so well enough to hold Lee at third. It's a double for Bill Hall. And it's second and third, 1 out, and for the first time a Cardinal has had to dig a ball out of the corner, and Taguchi did it well enough to keep it a tie game.
It's one of our new camera shots down the left field wall, and you see how it just grazes right along the wall and right into the corner. So it didn't hit that auxiliary scoreboard and deflect towards the field.
The Cardinals tied it in the bottom of the third, and Mulder threatens to give it right back. As Ricky Weeks steps in, he struck out his first time. The infield is in. Second and third, 1 out. Tie game in the fourth. And a strike on the inside corner. Because of the late start, 3:15 start, now the shadows start to creep toward home plate. And you'll get that situation where the home plate area will be in the shade and the pitcher will be out in the sun very shortly.
There's the high light towers here. You'll get in some of that grid work that'll creep out onto the field too.
Infield now can back up a step. They're about halfway. Lee does not run well at third, and that's clunked down to third, foul. 1 and 2 on Weeks. Just so we let you know, the home run that Pujols hit leading off the bottom of the third was estimated at 445 feet in distance. That made it 2-1, and Molina tied it with a sac fly deep into left. Brewers could get the lead right back. Weeks strikes out. A big strikeout for Mulder. Second time he is taking care of the 23-year-old, and it's second and third, 2 down. Best Damn Sports Show period is the greatest nightly sports show on television. You know the cast: Chris Rose, Rodney Peete, Rob Dibble, John Sally, Pistons guard Chauncey Billups, Lendale White from USC tonight at 10:30, only on FSN Midwest. Second and third, 2 out, and Prince Fielder, the slugging first baseman, fouls one off his foot. Strike 1.
That's where Mulder's experience should dictate and get him through this inning, even though he put himself into a jam. Make your quality pitches, and you should get some of these young, very, very good hitters, but they He should be worked over by a veteran pitcher of the experience of Mulder.
No balls, 1 strike, 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. Fielder takes it down and away. Edmonds playing shallow in center. In the ballpark, same idea.
Yeah, Encarnacion much deeper than Jim.
That's foul. You know, one thing Tony La Russa was talking about before the game is he was surprised and I think excited about the fact that the fans down each line aren't exactly right on top of the foul line, that there is some foul ground, which also helps the pitcher in the long run.
Sure.
Because a lot of those pop-ups, instead of going out of play, can be handled down the line.
Yeah, I think there's more foul territory here than you see at most new ballparks.
Back-to-back strikeouts by Mulder. He gets Weeks, he gets Fielder. Takes care of the 21-year-old Prince Fielder with runners at 2nd and 3rd, and that. Mulder hacks at the first pitch, bottom of the 4th inning, strike 1 as he fouls it away. Mulder, then back to the top, Eckstein and Encarnacion. If anybody gets on Pujols, who in that highlight package of our game summary, it's hit a 445-foot home run, a blast, last inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. There you go. That's nice and subtle for the person keeping score. Hello. 1-1. Over but low, 2 balls and a strike.
Still waiting to see Mulder really unload one.
Such a good athlete. He's got such a good stroke.
Yeah. DH in college.
Although normally it's teed up when he's taking a swing at something.
And it's stationary.
Yeah. But this counts 3-1, so Tomo has got to bring it to Mulder on 3-1. Mark will sit on a pitch and take a ball. How about that? A leadoff walk to Mulder, and that's the 3rd walk handed out by Oka already today. Our home run feature brought to you by Suntrip. When a Cardinal hits a home run, means the Suntrip Automotive family will donate $100 to their Win One for the Kids Charity Foundation. Already 8. 1 today.
Speaking of home runs, who's Shelton for Detroit?
Just absolutely red-hot slugger for the Tigers, who's got 5 last time I checked.
He had like 5 and 15 at bats.
How about hit and run, and Eckstein fouls it. That clunked the guy right on top of the head. So Eckstein was at the plate, and even with Mulder, the pitcher, the runner at first, the Cardinals put on the hit and run.
I think he said he's a good athlete.
Why are pitchers poor runners? Of all of the different positions on a team, nobody runs more than pitchers. But they can't run the bases.
They never turn.
Good point. Another foul, and it's 0-2.
They run straight ahead.
Maybe a little bend.
A little bend to the outfield wall.
But making those left turns, that's hard. Mulder can handle it.
We know Marquis can. He's got a lot of experience making corners.
He can hit. Some pitchers are just surprised to be on base. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Eckstein bunted for a hit. His last time up, he's 1 for 2. Cardinals trying to take their first lead of the day in their new home park.
I think David looking down to see where Bill Hall is again. Kind of playing back and off the line. Wouldn't be a bad idea to do it again.
Runner at first, nobody out, and Eckstein fights it off again. So 3 fouls off to the right side. Just got a text message from Ann Buck, and she has given thumbs up to the food here at the new Busch Stadium, and I'm telling you, if you can make her happy, you have done yourself proud.
You got to tell her she got to try the portobello fries.
Portobello fries. That's right behind us.
Yeah.
Eckstein dumps one into left, and the first two are on here in the fourth inning for the Cardinals in this tie game. And here's another opportunity for Juan Encarnacion.
I think Jose's going to come down and maybe say, Juan, just relax. Just relax.
Jose Oquendo, who was the manager for Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic, and Juan Encarnacion, who played for the Dominican and was a teammate of Albert Pujols, looking for his first big hit as a Cardinal. How about that? Dropping down a bunt could not have been any better, and the throw to first is in time to get Encarnacion. So out of the number 2 spot, Encarnacion gives himself up, drops down the bunt, and all that does is open up first base. And I would be shocked if the Brewers give much to Pujols to hit here.
You know, Joe, I think what Tony's saying is, look, this is more than just the Albert Pujols show. If you're going to do anything, you have to do it with guys ahead of him and guys behind him. So they want to put him on, go right ahead. He's already walked 3, soon to be 4 with this intentional pass. So he's not throwing that many strikes, and the Cardinals are starting to hit him.
But I think if there's an argument against having Encarnacion bunt, this is it. You're making it easy on Oka and the Brewers to just forget about Pujols until the next time he comes up, and putting it on Edmonds, although Jim, as you said, had great swings in Chicago and has hit the ball hard twice today against Oka. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. We will be back at it after an off day tomorrow on Wednesday night, 6:30, with Cardinals tonight on FSN Midwest. And the Cardinals will send their right-hander Jason Marquis, who won in Philadelphia in his first start against Dave Busch, a right-hander who is 1-0 with a low ERA after his first start. We also have Thursday's game for you. That's an early start, 12:10, Suppan against Doug Davis, a lefty. Bases loaded for Edmonds, and the Cardinals trying to pick up their first lead of the day.
Rick Helling is in the kind of a swing man, do it all type veteran now. He's warming up in the bullpen. They only have, what, 7 left-handers, 1 left-hander and 7 right-handers in their bullpen.
Only lefty is Jorge De La Rosa.
You know that Ben Sheets is on the disabled list. He's supposed to make his second rehab start tomorrow before he rejoined the big club.
What's Edmonds going to do? Strike 1. Team got home last night a little after 1 this morning, and they rolled into their new ballpark, excited what the day would hold, and Edmonds is presented with a bases loaded 1-out situation in the 4th in a tie game.
I can now see how these shadows are affecting the hitter, as all runners out there in bright sunlight, but you can barely see Jim Edmonds at home plate.
1-1. On 1-1, Edmonds fights it off in the hole, 1-2. If Edmonds doesn't do anything, Scott Rowland waits on deck. They are watching all around Major League Baseball today, trying to get a glimpse of this new park and watching the Cardinals take on Milwaukee. Here's a 1-2. 2-2.
I don't think the Cardinal fans disappoint anybody with the red shirts.
This place is filled with red shirts. Out beyond, literally, what, 30, 40 feet from the back of this ballpark?
40 feet.
The highway. On 2-2, Edmonds strikes out. Oka gets it past him upstairs. Edmonds goes down swinging. First strikeout for Oka. Good time for that for the right-hander, and it's up to Roland.
That went upstairs. Remember Jim, a high ball hitter, and never seen a pitch up that he didn't like. Sometimes you catch up to him, other times you swing through him. Strikeout's better than a ground into a double play.
Roland already has one slam on the year. Came at Philadelphia, of all places.
Opening day.
A lot more love for him in this park in St. Louis. And he takes over, but low ball one. This inning started with a walk to the pitcher Mulder, a hit by Eckstein. Encarnacion dropped down a bunt, a walk to Pujols. Edmonds struck out. It's up to Scott. Base hit down the left field line. 2 runs are going to score. Roland delivers, and the Cardinals take a 4-2 lead. What a start for the repaired Scott Roland.
Well, Scott Rowland, a little bit off-speed pitch, but gets enough of it to keep it between the white lines and down in the left field corner. Looked like the grass really slowed it down right there, and Eckstein's going to chug and churn and get around these bases. So already 9 RBIs for Scott Rowland.
Now second and third, 2 out for Taguchi, who chases a high delivery. Strike one.
A couple years ago, Scott Rowland arguably was the MVP of the first half. He'll tell you he usually gets off to slow starts, but not this year.
See if Taguchi can make it a big inning. Checks his swing, fights it off as that thing was headed for his chest. It's 0-2. Russo watched his team fall behind 2-0, tied it last inning, and they have their first lead. 0-2. 3 pitches to take care of Taguchi. 2 strikeouts in the inning, but 2 runs in the inning for the Cardinals. Driven in by Scott Rowland. A 2-out, 2-run double. 4-2 Cardinals after 4. Glistening arch behind the American flag, and this game gets into the 5th. Mark Mulder will deal with the bottom 2 in the order. Miller, Oka, then Brady Clark, although there's a pinch hitter standing in the on-deck circle. That would be Corey Hart. So 8, 9, and 1 the scheduled hitters after a ball, a swing, and a miss by Damian Miller, who's 0 for 1 tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike, and I think it's as difficult now for these hitters to see as it is for some of these outfielders to find fly balls out, either with A, the wind bothering him, or B, the sun, as we have seen some awkward routes to balls already in the outfield today.
We noticed in that game that the 6 o'clock start, the minor league game, that it was a early part of that game, the center field and right field were very treacherous sun fields. And then you'll see kind of as this game goes along, the shadows at home plate.
That's not good. A leadoff walk. That's what started the trouble for Oka in the bottom of the 4th. Now the top of the 5th. Starts with a walk to Miller, and here comes Corey Hart. Same name as the favorite musical artist of Mike Borzello back in the 80s, Corey Hart. Mike Borzello, the Yankees bullpen catcher for all these championship seasons. And here is Corey, who wears number 1 on his back.
And he apparently can run very well.
Ball one up and away. And Molina pops up and gives a little pitching help to Mark Mulder. 4-2, top of the fifth, one on, nobody out. That's in for a strike. Ball and a strike.
Corey Hart was named the best base runner in the Pacific Coast League and the Brewers' 5th best prospect by Baseball America following last season.
Only 24 years old. Born in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That's Cardinal country. That's a check swing. He did not go. And Hart is ahead on the count, 2-1. A walk to Miller, and Oka lifted for a pinch hitter, and Toma Oka will end up throwing 84 pitches, going 4 innings, allowing 4 runs on 6 hits. That is way out of the strike zone. 3-1.
About as high as you can get. See the Bud Light print press box.
Mulder's got to settle down and find the strike zone. His pitch is popped into right. Easy for Encarnacion. Glasses on, 1 on, 1 out. Mark Mulder struggled back in the 2nd inning. A rough start, but he's settled down since then. Base hit given up to Carlos Lee to start the inning, and then Bill Hall shot one out to right center. But a couple of key strikeouts out back to back in the top of the 4th with runners at 2nd and 3rd.
Yep. Got 4 in the day, but those 2 in the 4th inning, as you said, with runners at 2nd and 3rd and only 1 out, those were key strikeouts, and so far so good.
Here's Clark, and there's a strike.
Even in that 2nd inning, only threw 12 pitches, where he gave up his 2 runs and 2 hits.
Shadows now totally engulfing home plate. Cardinals have turned a double play in this game. They have the bottom 3 in their lineup to the plate in the bottom of this 5th, and a breaking ball is shot into center. Late break by Edmonds, and a dive and a catch, 2 out.
Jim wanted to come up and fire. He was in position, but looked like a little bit of a late break as these outfielders, they have to deal with the sun and, like you say, then the shade of home plate. But then he catches up to it. Watch him come up here in position right there to throw. Got that little somersault, and make sure you hold on to the ball. But you see where you can really tell is because of the sun, you really not sure of the direct approach to go on the ball.
Well, the first thing he said, I think he was looking over in Encarnacion's direction, is I couldn't see it. And it's happened on both sides with this day. And first of all, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's a high sun, a 3:15 start, and add to that the fact that now as you look from out in the center field area, home plate is in the dark. That just adds to the fun for these outfielders trying to pick the ball up off the bat. Ball 1 down and into J.J. Hardy.
Want to play day games? Pay a price.
Just hope the cloud comes. Runner at first is Miller, led off the inning with a walk. Hasn't moved since then, and Hardy shatters his bat, grounds to Eckstein, and off we go into the bottom of the 5th. Halfway through the home opener. So far, so good. So long to that bat. We welcome you back in this home opener, bottom of the 5th inning. Cardinals coming up. The Brewers and Cardinals. That should not read tomorrow. That's after an off day tomorrow. It's Wednesday night. So you can watch tomorrow night, but you're not going to get Cardinal baseball. But Wednesday night you will. And that starts at 6:30 with Cardinals tonight. Rick Helling takes over. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chevrolet.
That's his 2nd appearance. He's working out of the bullpen this year. He split time between the Brewers bullpen and starter. Made 8 relief appearances and 7 starts for the Brewers a year ago. Began the season at AAA.
Helling has had a long major league career, and Molina greets him with a long swing and a pop-up into left center field. The two outfielders come together, and somehow Brady Clark flashes in front of Carlos Lee to make the catch for the first out. I would not want to be Brady Clark and bang into the body of Carlos Lee.
Well, I think you're saying both of them are concentrating so much of trying to see the ball that they never really felt each other or gave a look to each other, didn't want to take their eye off it.
Here's Aaron Miles. Somehow the Milwaukee Brewers have held Aaron Miles hitless today. Done something that other teams couldn't do.
Well, the Cubs did in a couple games also. He came in 0 for 7, but the first 4 games he played, he was outstanding. He is a lifetime .280 hitter, left-handed.
He hits it hard to first, and a nice pickup by Prince Fielder, 2 out. I remember talking to a couple of scouts when the Cardinals picked up Aaron Miles and Bigby. And 2 different scouts told me they thought Aaron Miles was a good ball player.
Well, Walt Jockey told me that he was very comfortable with just Aaron Miles and Luna competing for the second base job. And Spivey came available. And I still think he's going to make a presence for this team.
Me too. 2 out. Here's Mulder. Done a good job on the mound at the plate. He drew an important walk leading off last inning. Came around to score on a 2-out, 2-run double by Scott Rowland. Takes a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. Good start to this effort by Rick Helling. That's just outside. 2-1.
8+ years in the big leagues for Helling.
On 2-1, he deals and Mulder checks it. It's low. 3 balls and a strike. See the effect of the wind on those flags. It is whipping around pretty good in downtown. Mulder waits in a 3-1 delivery. Is shot in the air to center field. Well hit. Back is Clark over his head. There's Mulder ripping one, and he will coast into second base with a 2-out double.
You play golf with him?
I have not had the pleasure. I've hit balls next to him, though.
And a little intimidating?
Well, first of all, he's 9 feet tall. Secondly, he's got an easy swing that reminds you of Ernie Els. And third, obviously, it doesn't matter if the ball's moving toward him because he can still rip it.
Well, it didn't matter in this time, but he is a very accomplished golfer. He's played in the AT&T, which you did also.
I did.
He was on a winning team now.
Yeah, we just had fun. That's fouled out of play off to the right by Eckstein. David is 2 for 3. His hit really set it up last inning. He's dropped down a bunt for a hit, then got the base knock and scored on the hit by Rowland. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pat Courtney has brought a friend with him into the booth today. And we'll talk to him in the top of the 6th inning if the commissioner of baseball will stick around and hang out with us up here in the booth. It's never good to welcome a guest of this magnitude with 2 out, 2 strikes on the hitter. I mean, that's just begging for the end of the inning, but we'll at least establish the fact that the commissioner of baseball is seated between Al Hrabosky and Joe Buck. A rose between 2 thorns.
Try and find out if he's neutral.
All right, now can we open up the spare headset and let the world hear the commissioner of baseball? How are you, sir?
Joe, Al, nice to see both of you.
Thank
I'm
you.
fine. I'm doing great on a gorgeous day and a beautiful brand new ballpark. How else can you be but happy?
Yeah, as a commissioner, I would imagine you walk into the gates of a stadium like this and you puff your chest out and think, we got another.
You know, there are some days where it's not a great thing to be the commissioner of baseball. This is one of those days where it's a great thing to be the commissioner.
Absolutely, and you were a part of our opening ceremonies where, you know, we sit up here and marvel at the show that's put on before us every year, and you get these Hall of Famers that come back and they're a part of this. As Eckstein pops it up to the right. Come on, get down, foul, and don't be caught. Prince Fielder with a great catch. I had a good point to make. Okay, nice talking to you. See you later.
Yeah, nice to see you guys. See you later. But I'm waiting.
No, he's waiting. Top of the 6th inning. We'll hear more. 4-2. Our owner's box down below where Commissioner Bud Selig was moments ago. This will be a big inning for Mark Mulder, and we have a chance to talk with Commissioner Selig. And I started to say, you know, we watched the opening day ceremonies and all the Hall of Famers coming by. I look at the young Brewers players like Weeks and Hall and Fielder, all out on the field, wide-eyed, taking it all in. It's a great spectacle here on opening day.
There's no question about it. You know, and I said to Bill DeWitt a couple of times, the tradition here is so good. You know, I'm supposed to be impartial, and I am, in terms of baseball towns. I mean, there can't be a better baseball town in America. There isn't. I mean, there are a couple that come awfully close, but this is just a remarkable place to come to, and it is amazing.
Here's a base hit into left center field off the bat of Jeff Jenkins, a line drive that eluded the glove of David Eckstein. So the leadoff man is on. The tying run will come to the plate, and Carlos Lee will step in for Milwaukee.
Carlos Lee, for whatever reason, the Cardinals have had his number, but you have a chance to see him more frequently than our fans. He's a terrific player.
Yeah, he is, Al. You know, unfortunately, I've been gone a lot, so I haven't. This is my first time to see the Brewers this year. I didn't see him in spring training or last week, but Carlos Lee is he's a really good hitter, no question about it.
He swings and fouls one off to the right. That's strike one. You talk about coming into a ballpark like this, and people always want to compare parks and ask my thoughts, ask Al's thoughts. I'll ask your thoughts of what you feel and what you think of this park walking into it for the first time.
Well, it's interesting. I walked around outside, Joe. There's nothing more I've loved all my life than walking around ballparks. They pulled off again, and I think maybe in a better way than I've heard before, is that they built a beautiful new ballpark with all the amenities that new ballparks need, but it looks like an old ballpark.
Right.
The architecture is fabulous outside. It reminded me, you're too young to remember all this, but it really did remind me of walking into Ebbets Field. There's something so distinctive, and that's what we've done. We've replaced a lot of stadiums built in the 60s, including one here, which all looked alike, and you couldn't tell them apart. And this is remarkable.
You say Ebbets Field, and you think of the Dodgers. Here's a 2-1 pitch from Mulder. Lee grounds one to short. Might be Eckstein. Miles, double play. You think of New York. The Mets have designed a new ballpark that has a lot of the same feel as Ebbets Field. You've got Yankee Stadium, a new Yankee Stadium that's been voted on and passed, and that's going to open, I guess, in the next few years. Slowly but surely across the league, you're getting brand new facilities that every team can be proud of.
The Mets, Fred Wilpon owns the Mets, of course, grew up in Brooklyn, went to school with Sandy Koufax. He loves the rotunda idea, which Ebbets Field had. So it is you are going to, when you walk in there, you're going to think you're walking back in Ebbets Field. The Yankees are trying to do the same thing. And soon we'll be left with the two national treasures, Wrigley Field and Fenway Park.
But they can't replace those.
And they won't. No, I don't think either club. I know the Red Sox have just put new seats. They're spending a lot of money. They won't leave, and I know the Cubs have no plans to leave Wrigley Field.
I think, though, the Cardinals infielders will chip in and buy Wrigley Field a new infield.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that.
Come on, as commissioner, step in.
As a matter of fact, I watched the game last night. I understand.
Okay, all right. One ball, one strike.
But you don't want me to knock the Cubs groundskeepers, thank you.
No, we don't have to knock them, but let me tell you this. Isn't it nice that we know we have another labor agreement that's coming up, but it doesn't seem like there's any overriding issues for there not to be harmony once again?
Well, one of the things I'm proudest in all this is that, Al, we had the relationship between the parties is better than it's ever been. It's going to continue to do that, and I don't think we have the overriding issues this year. So we're going to start negotiations shortly, and I'm quite optimistic.
There is one issue I'd like to talk about before you leave, though, and it has nothing to do with the Cubs grounds crew.
Right, that's good.
Okay, good. Bottom of the 6th inning, Cardinals will bat. They lead Milwaukee 4-2. Juan Encarnacion leads it off, takes a strike. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC, and the guy to my right. And it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC. Have you ever had to write a dissemination notice to let people just copyright the heck out of this game? Okay. But that's another great day to be a
That's exactly right.
1 ball, 1 strike on Juan Encarnacion. Albert Pujols is on deck. You know what he's doing? Swings one and misses. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. The other issue is obviously the issue that you can go nowhere and not talk about.
That's right.
And that is baseball's investigation into the steroid issue and everything that goes with it. As Encarnacion pulls the trigger too soon and fouls it. Still 1-2. Where do we stand with George Mitchell, and what sort of an investigation is this going to be?
Well, let me say, Joe, at the outset now that today we do have the toughest testing program in American sports, and we have also taken care of amphetamines. At least hope we have and believe we have. So I said for the last year that we had to take care of the present and the future, and we have. I think that even last year we were well down under 1%, and we'll continue to make progress. Now, I finally determined, as a result of a number of things,
Shortstop Hardy takes care of Encarnacion.
That it was time to at least take a meaningful look at where we were and to find out things. I thought the latest round out of San Francisco, there was more specificity than I had ever seen before. Before that, Joe, Al, we were dealing with innuendo, anecdotal evidence, things that really were, I thought, unfair, and I still think are unfair to some degree. But there's enough specificity here that I finally said to myself about a month ago, it's time to make out a list, and we need an investigation, and it can't be an internal one. It's got to be somebody who's not in the commissioner's office. So I went through the list, and George Mitchell's name, he served on my Blue Ribbon Committee, and he does bear the burden of being a friend of mine, but his reputation is so impeccable. Solved the problems in Ireland where everybody thought they were impossible, went to the Middle East, heard the Mitchell report, went to Salt Lake City when the USOC had a scandal. So Joe, he's been everywhere. He's been a former federal prosecutor, been a former federal judge. He will do very well, but what I told him, go wherever you have to go.
Talk to whoever you have to.
Anybody, doesn't matter. Wherever the evidence takes you, go.
What about players? I mean, can you
everybody.
haul players in?
Well, we can have players come. I mean, my best interest was make players must talk to them, but that doesn't mean that they're, we'll find out how cooperative they're going to be and not be, but he will talk to all parties. This is going to be
trainers, doctors,
everybody, Joe, every related party. Absolutely.
But the other issue was a conflict of interest because he's on the board of directors with the Red Sox.
Right. Well, and he's president of Disney, chairman of the board of Disney, and of course, naturally, they're one of our television partners. But he wanted to leave there and will leave there very shortly. As for being the chairman of the Red Sox, I talked to the Red Sox. I talked to various people in baseball. He's on the board, but he immediately said to me, the Red Sox will be treated no differently than the other 29. There's a Red Sox player that we need to look at and do. I'll give you a recommendation. It doesn't matter. And everybody, frankly, I haven't received a complaint from anybody in baseball. They all understand. This man's credentials are so impeccable that I really, that's, of all the things I have to worry about right now, this is not one of them.
1 ball, 1 strike is the count on Edmonds after Encarnacion grounded out. Pujols flied into center. Helling had an uneventful 5th inning, and he's back to work on Edmonds. Changes up. That's strike 2. And I'll say this with you sitting here on the air right now, that you are commissioner of baseball at a very difficult time. You have your plate full, your hands full, and so many different directions you can go, and fending off criticism left and right. Things that you have accomplished in this game are remarkable, from what we talked about earlier with more harmony between the Players Association and ownership, the expanded playoff format, revenue sharing, the deal that you already got done once, the internet deal, which kind of slid by and you got through,
huge, yes.
was huge. And you have done a lot of things to be very proud of, and we thank you for being here with us today on a very important day in Cardinal baseball.
Well, it is, and I want to say this to you, with all the things we just talked about, this sport has never been more popular. We will set another attendance record this year. The gross revenues will be up tremendously. Everything is up. We are going to have baseball's greatest year, and I am very confident saying, as I said, the sport has never been this popular. It's more popular today than ever.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Edmonds, 2 out, nobody on as Helling tries to get through the 6th. Cardinals lead at 4-2, and Edmonds fouls it back to the screen.
Mister, what would give you that idea, being downtown in St. Louis on a day like today, that it's popular?
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting thing. This is my 3rd opening day, but I stood with Bill watching all the people walk in, actually walked around outside. I mean, it's really amazing.
It's amazing.
And it's the greatest game in the world, and it'll survive some of these misfortunes.
I'm thinking about going into a business where I sell red shirts. What do you think?
I tell you, I was in Cincinnati last Monday. I thought I saw a lot of red there.
Until today.
Until today. That was just a warm-up for today.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody on Edmonds. Rolling on deck. He's been a hitting hero today. And Helling works it in. Edmonds fouls it straight back. What's next on your agenda? Where do you head next?
Actually, I'm going to go to Phoenix and see the Diamondbacks in a game before the week's over. But now I have a lot of work I have to get back to. So, beginning of the season, there's really so much to be done. We have to finish off the Washington deal. We need to find an owner. We're going to do that very shortly, and that'll be another thing off our plate. And great new franchise there will then really be well underway. And frankly, the labor negotiations. In fact, I've had a couple calls on my cell today. I want to try to avoid this time waiting until the last minute. It puts a lot of pressure on a lot of people, and I really believe, you know, you saw at the World Baseball Classic, which turned out, of course, to be a stunningly huge
That's another.
success.
I forgot to bring that up.
Well, no, that's all right. But years ago, Joe, Al, they said to me, number one, baseball has no international program. Never did. Now we have one. But then it was always said you've never had a partnership with the Players Association. We did that, and I have to give the Players Association great credit. They were just terrific in that, and that's why it worked as well as it did.
Well, Rick Helling gets a visit from not only Ned Yost, but from the trainer to check on his well-being after that last pitch floated in for a ball to Scott Rowland. He did not wave off the trainer immediately, so there must be some issue as they talk it over out on the mound. As you look back on the World Baseball Classic, what we just went through, and I found myself watching a game in the month of March, which I would never bother to do.
You're right.
Typically. Where are you with moving forward at that? Are you still in the negotiating phase of when would be best to play that? Or are you locked into doing it?
Well, we're going to review that, Joe. We'll review it, but in talking to everybody, including a lot of players and managers, I think actually Chipper Jones made an interesting suggestion to me one day in Arizona. You maybe move it back a week later in March, but let the American team come in on February 1st and have about 2 weeks to get together and hit and do things, and then go to their clubs and then come back. And I think that's where we're focused for 2009.
Well, we thank you for stopping by, not only here in the booth, but here in St. Louis on this historic day we open up this new ballpark. Thank you.
Pleasure to see both.
All right, Commissioner Bud Selig, as we go to the 7th inning, Cardinals still on top. It's 4-2. Last third of the game. Cardinal fans, are you always traveling and missing games? Watch Cardinals games live online whenever you are away from home, exclusively from MLB.tv. STLCardinals.com has more live games than anyone else. Anyone else? Oh, STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on, much to that little boy's chagrin.
Alligator tears.
Oh, you're calm today.
7th inning, 4-2. Cardinals up. Good start, as it turns out, Al, to this point for Mark Mulder. He has worked his way into and out of trouble, did that back in the 4th, and for the most part, he's turned in a very good effort here again today.
Absolutely. And Now, he had that little trouble with the first 2 batters in the 2nd inning, but didn't phase him, and went 1-2-3 with the next 3 guys. And then that in the 4th inning where he had runners at 2nd and 3rd and only 1 out, a pair of strikeouts followed.
Well, this has been the out valve for Mark Mulder. He struck out Ricky Weeks in the 4th, struck him out in the 2nd, and this time Weeks gets a piece, but he's still set up at 1-2. And early in the season, if you want to get deep into a game, you keep your pitch count down. Obviously, Dr. Rabowski, we are trying to take as much of a load off the bullpen as possible, and Mulder is trying to get through at least 7 here on opening day in St. Louis. That should help. If Eckstein can make the play from the hole, high throw, but out as Pujols stays on the bag.
You know, Joe,
0 for 3.
You look at these starters, they're all geared for like 6 and 7 innings. That's the reason why the Cardinal bullpen won the ERA title the last 2 years, because they threw the fewest innings of any other relief corps.
That is a good point, and something that we've always been proud of.
Carpenter led the way.
Yeah, this Cardinal rotation, and if you can constantly turn in not just 6+, but 7+, 8 innings, Dave Duncan will tell you that's the key to a successful bullpen. That and getting pitchers into specific roles out there, which they're still trying to figure out. Something we talked about at the top of the day, and something that will be an ongoing process as the early part of the season goes on. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Fielder lines one past Rolen and into left field. Prince Fielder does not run well, and that is a single with 1 out here in the 7th inning. Little premature take me out to the ball game there. We had Ernie Hayes' organ playing the 7th inning stretch music, and there's only 1 out in the top of the 7th.
So that's fine, isn't it?
Fine. That's bad luck. And next pitch, the guy gets a base hit into left field in a 2-run game. That's a good number, a good statistic for Mulder. He's faced 25, 17 times he started with strike 1.
And remember, he's one of the best in the league at inducing double plays.
2 times that's happened today.
Yeah.
There's Damian Miller, strike 1.
Had 32, I think, last year, and 146 double plays in his career, second most in the majors to Sean Estes in the same time span, 2001 to 5.
Let up drops low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Sean Estes.
Yep.
He's still pitching. I think he's with Arizona now.
I think he just went on the disabled list for somebody. San Diego, I think.
Okay, San Diego. I missed that. Sean, where have you gone? You don't write, you don't call.
Capion, Jose Capion is warming up in their bullpen.
And they turn it. A tag and double play turned by Miles. Good play. Took a risk waiting for the tag. Got the glove on the big body of Prince Fielder and fired onto first to get Miller to end the top of the 7th. Now Ernie can play. Take me out to the ball game. Fans, you could win a 2007 Hyundai Sonata in the long drive inning sweepstakes. Visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer now to register. Good luck. So Taguchi will lead it off. Yadier Molina will follow, and then Aaron Miles before Mulder bats. And right now with Mulder at 83 pitches, Cardinal bullpen is quiet. And why not? With the way Mulder has rattled through the last 3 innings with relatively no issues. Here's Jose Capion taking over for Milwaukee in the 7th.
These guys got a good arm. He came from the Atlanta Braves organization, and they Dan Cope trade. Now they got their former closer back and as a setup man. Mulder, 3 double plays have been his best friend.
He's also been on base a couple
times, but we could use a couple more runs for insurance.
Taguchi is first up, so is 1 for 3. Capion delivers. That's up the middle to his left. Hardy better hurry, and that's out number 1. Good effort by Taguchi down the line, and it took the big stretch from Prince Fielder to get the out. We are down amongst 40,000 people watching the Cardinals open their new ballpark, and we've shown you shots of the stadium. In case you're wondering, they are ahead of schedule on the area to our left. That area where you see the empty seats, that's just not ready for customers yet because of the facilities up there, not because of the seats, and then they'll continue to fill in seats. They thought, Al, originally it would be July before this place was able to be totally full, and now they're talking about moving that up more than a month and sometime in May getting to full capacity.
Sure, and as you said, they can put the seats in relatively quickly, but they need the bathrooms, the concession stands, everything for the fans before they'll open it up.
On 0-2, Molina guides one into right center field. That's easy for Jenkins, who has an error today. 2 out. Aaron Miles will be the hitter. What better way to spend an Easter Sunday afternoon than here? The Cardinals take on the Reds on April 16th. Bring your family down, and all fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive a new era of Cardinals baseball t-shirt, compliments of Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Cardinals, and shop and save. For tickets, log on to stlcardinals.com and click on Prime Seat Club. Here's Miles, who is 0 for 3. He's lined out, popped up, grounded out. Ball 1 from Capian. It'll be a pinch hitter. And then Clark and Hardy for Milwaukee in the top of the 8th against Mulder. Miles able to check his swing. It's 2-0. I want to see Looper today.
I do too.
Did not pitch last night. Had the better outing 2 games ago, and I'd like to see him get a taste of it here in the Cardinals home opener if the situation comes up.
I know they want to work on his mechanics a little bit, but it's not going to make any difference until you do it on the mound and during the game. And maybe just totally reverse course and say, okay, give him the 9th inning today.
3-0 the count, 2 out, nobody on. There's a strike from Capian, who's throwing hard, 92 miles per hour, 3-1.
He has a solid arm, just one of those guys trying to put it all together.
The 2 out. That just missed, and a 2-out walk will bring Mulder to the plate for the 4th time today. That's what every pitcher craves when he makes a start. 4 at bats. At least plate appearances. He's walked once, scored a run, doubled, and bunted into a force out.
You know, it kind of gets the pitcher through the 7th inning here in case you need to. He can maybe sustain something, or even if he makes the final out, you start at the top of the order in the next inning.
That way, if you have to make a pitching change in the top of the 8th, you don't have to mess around with a double switch.
Exactly.
So that's what that walk provides the Cardinals here in the 7th.
Which is a good point when you're carrying that one extra reliever and you have a small bench. Even though I want to see Spezio today.
For what reason?
Because of your musical knowledge. You know he was a guest on the Best Damn Sports Show period.
Really?
And he was a musical guest with an all-star band.
The name of his band was Sand Frog.
No, that was the name of his band, but he was on the Best Damn Sports Show on November 11th, 2002 with the all-star band comprised of musicians from Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Zombie, and Alice in Chains.
Mulder off the end of the bat, strike 2.
So please tell me who those last 2 are.
Alice in Chains, fantastic group. I think their lead singer may no longer be walking the earth. They had a great album, Jar of Flies.
See, I knew you would know. And the Zombie, Rob Zombie.
Just a hard rock. And he's not. It's not the.
No, I'm going to make him the Zombie.
Okay. Well, he basically is. Here's a 1-2. 2-2 on Mulder. Ozzy Osbourne, you know him because
Well, I
of
know
your
him.
fascination with MTV.
Oh, with TV, yes. And his language.
Two pitch is fouled away again. Tim Garcia giving us the information that what's his name, Lane Staley, lead man, Allison Chains, passed away a couple years
I
ago.
would, come to think of it, yeah, that should have been the resource I went to.
Hey, you got to give
Tim
him credit.
Garcia.
Or not? Did I know that or not?
That's why I asked. That's why I asked you. I knew you would know.
2-2 is the count. 1 on, 2 down. Capian. All 3 low, and maybe that little walk to Miles will start something to give some insurance and breathing room here in the bottom of the 7th.
The one thing that was missing from that all-star band was your singing voice.
No.
Come on, tell me you wouldn't want to.
I just won't go on that show. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Mulder, another foul. And a nice grab by a fan down the left field line. So Miles will take off again. It's a full count on Mark Mulder, and it's a chance to extend this 7th inning for Eckstein, who waits on deck. Seeing if Miles was going to tiptoe and take off a little too soon. Now he goes, and Mulder hits one to deep right center field. At the wall. Home run, Mark Mulder. What a day for the Cardinal lefty. It's 6-2. First career Major League home run for Mark Mulder. And his biggest cheerleader in the dugout was fellow starter Jason Marquis. This ball was crushed. A walk, a homer, and some breathing room. And some cheers from the dugout for the best hitting pitcher in the National League, Jason Marquis.
I kept on saying, when's Mark Mulder going to do that? And a curtain call to boot.
How about that? He's turned in 7 brilliant innings. He's doubled, walked, and homered, scored twice, driven into a one-man wrecking crew here on April 10th. Third career 2-hit game for Mark Mulder. First career home run. A moment he and 40,000 plus will never forget. Trying to snap a 3-game losing streak, and Mulder is doing all he can to stop the slide. Eckstein grounds to first. Nice play by Fielder. We go to the 8th inning. Mulder will try to catch his breath, calm down, and go pitch the 8th. Crushed into right center field. 2 Cardinal home runs on the day. One by Albert, this one by Mulder. Marquis, the other pitcher. We have our question, a Raising the Bar text message brought to you by Singular. The question was, 40-year history of Busch Stadium, how many postponements, rainouts were there? And the answer was, as you texted your vote to 42,957, the anticipation is killing me. 61. Answer A. There you go. There you have it. Mulder, who's got to be on cloud 9, diving stop, rolling from a knee, throws, got him, what a play. It's all working now on opening day here in St. Louis. Jeff Cirillo, the pinch hitter, is erased on this brilliant play by Scott Rowland.
You see shadowing and shadows from his knees. And Jeff Cirillo, he played third base. I don't know if he ever made plays like this, but he appreciates it. watching Scott Rowland play defense, 6-time Gold Glove winner, and what a play. Oh, that's what's separating that arm strength.
Now Brady Clark, strike one from Mulder.
A lot of times when you get that one good defensive play like that, that just propels you through the inning. The difference about all of a sudden an extra base hit or a spectacular out.
We've seen a diving rolling catch from Jim Edmonds. We've seen the play by Rowland here to start the 8th inning, and now we see Braden Looper getting loose for the Cardinals in their pen.
It's all part of the game plan, and you know, Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan would get together when Mulder's going out there, and it's all about anticipation. So you talk it over, who's going to be up, what's the circumstances. You even can tell the bullpen to relay through Marty Mason, bullpen coach, okay, if this situation presents itself, this is when we bring in Looper. All the while hoping that Mulder has a 1-2-3-8.
Behind on the count, Clark takes it low. And I don't think it's stating the obvious that a reliever getting loose likes to know the situation that they could potentially get into and follow it along in the bullpen as they're getting loose.
And as the season progresses, you get into a, you know, the manager gets into a pattern. You know your fellow relievers.
Back to Mulder on a 3-1 delivery, 2 out. Pretty much an airtight game to this point, and Mark Mulder's been at the center of it. Our hot pitch of the game is brought to you by Hardee's, and it's Prince Fielder, a swinging strike 3 back in the 4th inning, 1 of 5 strikeouts to go against only 1 walk on the record of Mark Mulder today.
That strikeout came with runners at second and third. Struck out the man ahead of him.
Best 2-batter stretch that he had today. That's over below 1 ball 1 strike. You think about how the last time Mark Mulder was pitching in the home whites in front of Cardinal fans, he was, I'm sure, disappointed with how he worked in that Game 6 NLCS against Roy Oswalt and the Houston Astros. Oswalt was not going to be denied that night, and I don't know if it mattered who was pitching against Oswalt that evening, but Mark Mulder was the guy who took the ball, and he did not match up with Oswalt. This afternoon and this evening, Mulder has been probably the biggest reason why potentially 40,000 fans could leave here thrilled with their first day at the new home park. A 1-2-3 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th rolls in. Encarnacion, Pujols, Edmonds coming up. Cardinals lead it 6-2. Our Jack in the Box game recap, and featured in that blast 445-foot home run off the bat of Albert Pujols, and the brilliant effort this afternoon by Mark Mulder. Mulder has done it with a baseball in his hand and a bat in his hands. He has struck out 5, walked only 1. He is through 8 innings at a perfect top of the 8th. He doubled in his second to last at bat. Ball shot over the head of Brady Clark in center, and then his last time up after a 2-out walk to Miles, his first major league home run. And it's 6-2. Well, curtain call to boot, and Mark Mulder is now thinking about the 9th inning, where he will deal with the top, actually the heart of the order, Jenkins, Lee, and Hall, with Looper continuing to get loose for the Cardinals out in their bullpen. Here's Encarnacion, and 1 pitch, 1 out, as Jenkins shades his eyes and hauls it in. Another hitless day for Encarnacion. Dan Kolb takes over. He is the 4th pitcher of the day for Milwaukee.
A couple years ago, he had 39 saves with Milwaukee. Then they traded to the Braves to be their closer and just kind of fell flat. He had 11 saves, but a 3-8 record, and lost that job and finds himself back in Milwaukee.
Back in Milwaukee, but with a different job. He's now part of the setup relief corps for Derek Turnbow, the closer for Milwaukee, a flame-throwing right-hander who just signed a contract extension.
Yeah, you know, but Turnbow has already became the first pitcher in Major League history, or since they started recording saves, to save the first 3 and then first 4 games of his team to start the season. Do you believe Derek Turnbow was released by the Angels?
No. So was Jenks, Bobby Jenks.
Exactly. I mean, there was like 2 or 3 of them like that.
So the question is, A, who's making the decisions to release these guys, and B, how do they find these guys to throw 100?
Well, and you know what?
C, are they for hire?
Both of them, they kind of said, well, they don't have the makeup to be closers, so they release them. Well, you know, what about a setup guy then?
Shift is on the infield and outfield for Pujols, who hits one in the air to left. Lee shades his eyes and hauls it in for out number 2. First, you wondered if Lee even saw the ball.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, how often do we see all the outfielders just really using their gloves to shade every ball that's hit in the air?
I think at the end of this day, you will be hearing and reading reactions from fans. Oh, I love the new park. Oh, it was great. What a great day at the new Busch Stadium in Mulder. Fantastic. Start of a lifetime. Hit my first major league home run. Don't go by the outfielders and ask them what they think, because they have had a rough day in the outfield with the wind and the sun.
I see the infielders, outfielders, they're all sitting there just trying to fight the sun at times.
Edmonds has been a part of that out in center.
How about, we've had 3 home runs in this game, but none of them have been cheap.
And none of them, well, let's say this, 2 of them were front row jobs.
Right.
And 1 was hit by the MVP that was a back row job.
So, I mean, I think the ball, you know, it will get out, but you have to hit it. It's a very fair ballpark.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Edmonds, who came very close to a home run back in the 3rd. Hit one off the top of the wall and right. And again, his hustle, breaking up a double play, led to the Cardinals tying the game in the 3rd inning on a sac fly by Molina. It's inside again. Mark Mulder is up to 94 pitches for his day. You wonder how much they want to play with, trying to get him to finish what he started here in the home opener.
A lot of times what happens there is you let him go until he gets a man on.
Edmonds sticks the bat out, pokes it into left. Lee is back at the wall to haul it in, and the inning is over. Part of the order goes 1, 2, 3. 9th inning rolls in. Will Mulder head back to work, or will it be Braden Looper in his return for this start, the home opener? April 10th, 2006, and he's trying to turn in a complete game. 6-2, the Cardinals on top. Looper getting ready if he's needed, and Jenkins first up. Took a ball, now a strike. Only 1 walk today, and with 5 strikeouts and 2 runs on 6 Milwaukee hits.
Sums it up.
It has been that type of day today for sure. Jenkins flies one into left center field, and that's going to start this 9th inning with a hit, and that might be the end of the day for Mark Mulder. Right-handed batters coming up, and I would assume that Mulder will exit, but we'll wait and see. Here comes Tony. And there goes Mulder, I believe. That's it. So Mulder should get a fantastic ovation. Crowd is groaning because they want to see Mulder finish it. And Looper is going to have to walk in an odd circumstance. He's used to it after pitching Shea. But here's the ovation for Mulder. Outside of picking up 3 more outs, there isn't much more he could have done today. A double, a home run, 8+ innings, 2 runs on 7 hits. He leads. It's a 6-2 game, top of the 9th inning. Trying to close it down will be Braden Looper. And our play of the game is brought to you by Budweiser. This diving stop For the first out in the top of the 8th inning, Al, was vintage Scott Rowland throwing over to first and getting Cirillo out from his knees as Braden Looper takes over.
Braden Looper's first outing was an outstanding one, as you actually got 6 consecutive ground ball outs, but the 6th one took a bad hop and extended the inning, went for a base hit, and then he got a line drive to end it. But had a rough spring after coming off the shoulder surgery, but his velocity was good, his breaking balls were there. It was just a matter of concentration. He felt so good, he just kind of felt like he was in the stadium instead of really concentrating on the catcher's target. But that should all change being in the big league atmosphere, and it did up in Chicago, and I expect the same right now.
Yeah, I was excited when the Cardinals signed him. He's a guy who's got great stuff. He's been a world champion. He's been a closer with the Mets. He will be a big part of the Cardinals' success this year. He can bring it, and he hits the outside corner with a strike to Carlos Lee. There's a cushion here of 4 runs. He takes over with a man on. That's Jenkins. Nobody out. This would be a nice way for him to start his season at home.
And I think it's real important to just let him do it. And, you know, and then you kind of let him settle in and everything, and everybody doesn't worry about the 8th inning.
What they're worried about, they being Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa, are mechanics. Not health, but that his mechanics are all out of whack. He's having a tough time putting the ball where he wants to.
Well, but like we talked about, he felt so good in spring training that, you know, he just never really worked on concentration. You know, if you feel physically good and you're not throwing strikes, that's concentration. And he said, yeah, I was kind of distracted. I didn't really concentrate, but he felt like it was just something that would turn around.
That might be 2. Miles, Eckstein. How about that from Braden Looper? 2 out, and the Brewers are down to their final out. Let's go pitch by pitch, brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers.
Well, he got a lot of butterflies, but his first pitch is a strike right there. Then the kind of off-speed pitch got away from him a little bit. Then he comes back, gets a foul ball, but he gets a lot of ground balls. He's got split finger, he's got a fastball, he's got a breaking ball, and he really is getting a lot of these ground balls. He's forgot somewhat about trying to strike everybody out, and more importantly, just trying to retire hitters quickly.
This could be the capper to a great day. That misses, ball 1. Barely missed. Not only a shot in the arm for Braden Looper in particular in the Cardinal bullpen, but for these fans who were groaning when Tony motioned out to the bullpen after what's transpired the last couple of days. There's a strike, and it's even at a ball and a strike. This will make a lot of people feel good, a lot better about the bullpen, and it could be the end out to a great day.
Exactly. I mean, all of a sudden, if Braden Looper is your guy once again, then it all falls into place.
That was nasty.
There's
Strike
a splitter.
2. Finish it in style, Braden.
When you're on the mound, Joe, and you got a chance to get that 27th out, there's no better feeling in the world than to get a strikeout.
Ripped into the left field corner. That ball is going to bounce off at the wall, and Taguchi slips. Happy his hamstrings are still intact as he gets it back in. Hall has been a wrecking crew. 2 doubles and a 2-run home run. Other than Bill Hall, the Milwaukee attack hasn't done much.
And I think right there is kind of what they saw at times in spring training, where, you know, Mulder tries not to get too excited. Suppan very excited about trying to see the end of this, but there was kind of the hanging split finger. Pitches sat up there for him, becomes much more hittable.
Let's let it end right now. The Cardinals get Isringhausen up in the bullpen. Braden Looper is more than qualified to close out this game, and he wants to get it done right now. Ricky Weeks at the plate, 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. With 2 out. Ball 1 high.
You know, after the debacle last night for Isringhausen, he can't wait to get back on the mound and do his job. But I think it's more important for the team, for Braden Looper, to get this final out and be part of a Cardinal victory.
Here's a 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looper pitched last year with a sore arm. Did so while trying to close games for the New York Mets.
And he had 28 saves in that sore arm season, too.
Here's a 1-1. 1. Weeks has had a rough day with the 2 strikeouts and a ground out. That's a high strike, and it's 2-2. Runner at second, 2 down. This crowd to its feet again. Full count. On deck is a power threat, Prince Fielder. Again, 8+ innings from Mulder. 2 runs on 7 hits. 5 strikeouts, a walk. Hit batsman and a home run. Here's a 3-2. Slashed foul. Past first base coach Dave Nelson. What a terrific job by our crew at FSN Midwest all day. A long day. In many ways, we're just getting started here.
Oh,
a
yeah.
post-game show coming up. But the job that the crew did getting this ballpark ready for this home opener. Looper, another 3-2 pitch.
Splitter.
Up the middle, base hit. Here comes the runner. That's Bill Hall to the plate. That makes it a 6-3 game. And Weeks gets his first hit. That means that Prince Fielder will come up. And the tying run will be in the on-deck circle. And this crowd will have to wait for another batter.
Tried to get that ball down, the splitter up the middle. And finds a hole, and Charlie Roos is going to go to the bullpen and bring in Izzy.
So able to get the lead man Carlos Lee on the double play ball, then a double by Hall, an RBI single by Weeks, and what could have been a huge shot in the arm of confidence for the Cardinals and Braden Looper ends with Isringhausen coming out of the bullpen. What'll that do to Looper's confidence as we play here in the home opener? It's 6-3, 1 on, 2 out, top of the ninth. Jason Isringhausen now will try to get the save in this home opener. 6-3 game. Top of the ninth inning. Prince Fielder takes a strike. The issue with Isringhausen last night, more than anything else, Al, was control and the 2 walks, and then having to groove one to Barrett, who took him out for a grand slam.
You know, they 8 straight pitches on the 2 walks.
None of them were really close. Fielder gets a base hit into right field, and that means that the tying run will come to the plate. After Weeks took second, Fielder greets Isringhausen with a hit, and now with Damian Miller's spot due to hit, we'll have a pinch hitter, it appears, for Milwaukee.
Corey Koski will pinch hit here. Cardinals did not warm up a left-handed reliever, so they're going to go with Izzy all the way. This game has gotten very interesting. You know, Mulder had many wins taken away last year. Arguably his first game, he came out leading and got a no decision. Now Dave Duncan will come out and talk to Izzy.
Against Isringhausen, that is a bad line. 3 out of 5 with a home run. And Isringhausen now is in a spot where the tying run is at the plate for Milwaukee, and what looked to be a glorious day is turning into a nail-biting ending here in the 9th inning.
I will say this, Charlie Russo makes changes like bringing in Izzy because he feels that's the best way to win. And I still would have liked to seen Looper stay and finish it.
As would I. Here's a strike to Koski. Fielder takes second as the Cardinals pay no attention to him. No stolen base given, but Koski, who's at the plate, is in a big spot here for Milwaukee.
Off to a good start, too.
1 ball, 1 strike. Corey Koski has had a very good career with Minnesota, last year with Toronto. He's a guy that's hit as many as 26 home runs in a big league season. Last year with Toronto, hit 11.
Basically, Toronto handed them to him and said, here's the money to pay him.
Here's a 1-1. High and tight. On deck is Gabe Gross, another pinch hitter in case Koski keeps the game alive. Gross also a former Blue Jay. 2 balls and a strike. 2 out. Tying run at the plate. 3 balls and a strike. And this crowd has gone from cheering just about everything that they were witnessing here today, at least from the 3rd inning on, to groaning after every pitch here in the 9th.
Well, after the spring that Izzy had, the one person you were not concerned about was the Cardinal closer.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Chased it down and in. Full count. Koski right over the top of what would have been ball 4.
Crowd trying to get behind him.
Isringhausen trying to nail it down. 3-2 pitch. Now the tying run is on base. And the go-ahead run will step to the plate in the person of Gabe Gross. So with 2 out and nobody on, the Cardinals 1 out away from victory. We've had a double, an RBI single, another RBI single, and now a walk. And Gabe Gross is batting for Cole.
Tuesday, Gross became just the 5th player in franchise history to homer in his first at bat with the club. Royce Clayton, Glendon Rush, Rob Deere, and Mike Keegan were the other 4.
With 2 out and 2 on, a breaking ball catches the outside edge of the plate. Strike 1, good pitch.
So I think I saw that. I know that Milwaukee got shut out yesterday, and now Izzy wants to talk to Molina and Eckstein, but this Milwaukee winning the first 5 games, I think they came from behind in all 5 of those games.
Well, the guy at the plate, Gross, last year hit only 1 home run, drove home 7 in 92 at bats with Toronto. In case you're wondering about his power, but as you know, any one of these guys, Mulder included, can take 1 out, and he's the go-ahead run at the plate. Tying runs are on. Lead runner is Fielder. Trail runner in the tying run is Koski at first. 2 out. Breaking ball again for strike 2. 2 good pitches from Isringhausen.
Izzy threw a lot of good curveballs in spring training.
This anxious crowd ready to celebrate yet again. 0-2 pitch. Slow roller to first. Pujols will take it. Tag. Got him, and that's a winner. Cardinals win it 6-4 as they finally wrap it up here in the 9th inning. And Mark Mulder did all he could today. Watched as Isringhausen gets the final out. And the first game in the new Busch Stadium, April 10th, 2006, is a 6-4 win over Milwaukee. We will take a break and watch this final out as Pujols was just able to get the glove.
All right, Scott Rowland, 2-run double in the 4th to put the Cardinals on top to stay. A little defensive work. Boy, an opening day, beautiful day. Except for the drama at the end, it was quite a pleasant afternoon.
We'll take the drama at the end with the win. It was a beautiful day, opening day, beautiful ballpark, beautiful weather, but you know, Mark Mulder gets a lot of credit today. I mean, swinging the bat and you know, the way he pitched, and you know, we got to win. We'll take that.
How about the new stadium and the way it plays? I know you've been asked that probably 100 times, but we'll make it 101.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the way it plays, it's a beautiful ballpark. I mean, you know, anybody that's in here and can see it from the air anywhere, it's gorgeous. The clubhouse is beautiful. The field's great right now. I'm sure that they're going to, there's going to be some things they're going to tweak along the way, but I have no complaints whatsoever. I had fun today.
Coming off the shoulder surgery, you had said that your target date for being 100% was opening day. You weren't worried about spring training, and so far during the season, it looks like you're 100%. Are you right where you want to be?
I couldn't be any happier to where I am right now. I wasn't sure what to expect. Obviously, I'd never had a shoulder surgery or anything along those lines, so the rehab was long. It was about 10 months when you actually get down to when the injury happened back in May. 11 months. So it's been a long road, and I had some ups and downs in spring training, but I turned the corner a little bit now, and I feel good every day right now.
A win like this, I guess, puts everything that happened in Chicago squarely behind you guys.
Yeah, we put that behind us on the plane. I'm not making excuses. There were tough conditions on both sides. They got out in front of us early, and that makes it tough. They played well. We played well at times, and we're back right now in front of our home crowd, and we're ready to go.
Scott, thanks for the time.
Jim, thank you.
All right, no hugging. A little drama at the end, but otherwise a pretty good opening day, wouldn't you say, fellas?
Absolutely, and hopefully the no hugging thing does not include us up in the booth. We'll hug at a later time. It's 6-4. The Cardinals win it. What a day it was. Little drama at the end, as Jim talked about, but from a flyover to the Hall of Famers to a brilliant job today by Mark Mulder, a Cardinal victory as they open a new park. It is a 6-4 Cardinal victory, and even with the drama, a great opening day here, Al Raboski. This game had a little bit of everything.
Well, it had a lot of Mark Mulder. Offensively, he was outstanding with a couple hits, his first home run, but the pitching of Mulder was spectacular. Hall of Famers, everything about opening day here in St. Louis is very special.
We celebrated the reigning MVP, Albert Pujols, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, and Chris Carpenter. We heard some crying, everything. Cardinal Baseball is produced by Bud Productions and is an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. Our next game will be Wednesday night, 6:30 with Cardinals tonight, game 2 of this set. Final score, 4-2, make it 6-4. The Cardinals win it. They're 1-0 in the new